Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in a moment.
Thank you for holding. We look forward to talking with you soon. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Thank you for holding. We sincerely appreciate your patience. Please stay on the line, and we'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Wherever you go, you can listen to the news. You can swing with the blues on this wonderful, wonderful station. Just take a lively companion wherever you go. Take a portable radio. Take a portable radio.
Now, here comes the music.
Oh my gosh. Welcome aboard, boys and girls. Look at this. Just a mere 9 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. We are in Studio C. You are along with us. Please welcome. It's show 312 on, what is this? This is the 15th of August already. My gosh.
My
where
God,
where has
nice.
2017 gone?
Nice.
To hell in a handbag is pretty much where it's gone.
Up in flames, that's for sure.
It's all going crazy. We almost have enough food in the studio at this point to start the show, but I always forget to let them see us in the studio, so I have to click on things and make magic. What in the hell is this? Oh, there we go. Now,
What the hell is going on?
now they can see us. My God.
Hola.
Hola, everybody. Welcome. The chat room's already rocking and rolling, and we're ready to go. Kat Carlson is on her way. She'll be here in just a few minutes. She's en route, and we are ready to go. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Marnie brought gummy bears.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, what's the story about you in the grocery store with the bag of
end-
popcorn?
Oh, well, it wasn't in the grocery store.
Oh,
it
I
was
thought-
actually at home.
Oh, I missed that.
But the gummy bears are because of how we finished last season. Right.
Well, and they were left, and I, over the 6 weeks, kind of had to consume the rest. Actually, 4 of them wound up in the bottom of the sink in a bowl. I just want to see what would happen if they were in
Right.
water.
No, nothing.
No,
nothing.
They
weird.
drowned.
No, they were weird. It didn't even dissolve, so I was a little concerned.
They were weird.
Then that's-
And they don't digest either, so really not a lot of surprises.
Like a salad shooter,
Yeah.
gummy shooter.
Anyway, so when I saw 5 pounds of it at
those
I think
are-
Costco or something.
Are they-
I don't
well,
know.
sure. Well, of course. What could you need?
I
5
am
pounds.
afraid of the day that I am just
Wander.
enjoying a little something medical and wander past a 5-pound bag of
I know.
gummies.
Well, so there was that.
I had to
and
think
then
about that for like I know your profession, medic. Different.
that
Yes,
one.
got it.
So the popcorn story that you're talking about is Mom had the hip surgery,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
on
yeah.
the 2nd, and so needless to say, I'm very busy. I'm for fucking real. Like, I'm trying to keep a relationship going. I'm trying a full-time job. The house is a disaster. And then, you have that's all, folks. And
Where are my pants? Where are my pants?
where are my pants? It's all the
Things Porky
inspection.
Pig says.
That's all.
So is Donald Duck.
So I
lot of
walk
pantsless.
up and apparently I'm supposed to feed.
Who, your mom?
My mom, yeah. Something.
Can you just throw things at her? Like,
Jesus,
Catch.
there's Uber
Catch.
Eats, and then someone says, "Well, she can't get up and get that." Yes, she can. Yes, she
She
can.
just can't walk sideways.
Correct.
She has to walk forward and
That's
backwards.
exactly it.
It's time to start posting those Obama stickers right on her. Yes, she can.
Yes, you can. Si su puede.
Hope.
Si su fucking puede.
Hope-
Right there. is
Hope's
what I'm
alive.
saying.
And at the breakfast table, so go to the breakfast table.
For real. Anyway, so I walk out with the big bag of popcorn. You can, well, this is ripped in half, but I mean, it's like
That is
this
such a
thing.
small show. Again, show the viewer.
Well-
That. Look at the size of that
But see,
fucking
the thing
popcorn
is that
bag.
it's supposed to go to
Oh,
there.
it gets more.
it's-
more.
She just cut
It's
it in
about
half.
this, yeah. I cut it
So
in
when
half.
she threw it at her mother and said, "Dinner is served,"
Yeah, like
it was a
I went like that.
It was like a
I came out of
king-size
the
pillow.
pantry and I went, dinner is served.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just stared at her like, what are you going to say about that?
She practically performed "Be My Guest."
Cool.
Our guest.
Right. Yeah.
Amen.
Put our. What is it?
Just
put our. What's
Put
to
this
the test?
popcorn to the test.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you
I
go.
mean, it's nutritious.
It's cleansing. I understand.
It can be.
Sure. You eat enough of it, just
And,
gravel. Just
the
take it-
antibiotics and the pain medicine, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Is she
needs
still
something.
laced? Is she still laced out?
No, just when I crush it up and put it in her fucking applesauce. No, I'm kidding. I don't.
Wow.
I've only done that
Well,
once, twice.
Mother's Day
Three-
came early or late.
A couple
I'm not
days.
sure.
It's only been a couple days.
Can I text Senior Protective Services? Is she?
What else? I mean, I've only done it a couple times. You can't prove it, I don't think.
Okay, I've decided that you would be the same as I would be as an actual parent. If there were actual children, how do you get the kid to fucking shut up?
Yeah.
Is there Jack Daniels in the house?
For real.
Seriously?
I'm
Dude,
just going to put it on his gum.
Sure.
Just a
Just a pinch.
soup's on.
Yeah.
A
And
pinch
then,
between
Benadryl.
his cheek and gum.
and the bottle. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going
I
to give
don't
it the
care.
glass bottle. I'm
No.
not negligent.
And plastic would not be eco-friendly. So now where are you? Now
No,
where
no,
are
no.
you?
I
Now where are
appreciate the lack of negligence. I am not. I was in a plastic bottle.
Yeah.
That's
Hi,
right.
Mom. Welcome to the chat room.
Now she's an eco-terrorist. Though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Now,
Disposable diapers and plastic
That's
bottles
right.
all
That's
over
right.
her fucking house.
Oh, my.
Well,
Try it.
and that's just for your mom.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well,
Ooh, there we go, Dale. Put the bed in the kitchen.
I
Smart.
saw. Yeah, exactly, Dale.
Fucking smart. I
Then
miss
it's
you,
just
buddy.
a buffet.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, then that's the
Whatever
way it should
cabinet
be.
you can reach
Jesus,
is
she's on,
yours.
she's
And
on
actually,
steroids,
if
so
you
she'd
were
love that.
if you were to redo that room just off of your kitchen,
Yeah, smart.
it really is a lovely bedroom because you've got a view. All those windows, you open up, she could get your little sun.
Absolutely. Vitamin D.
You could
Sure.
sell it as an Airbnb. The kitchen, yours to explore.
But you only get this area.
Good luck. Has its own private entrance, all that stuff. You know.
There
Work it
are
out.
wild
You try.
animals.
There are.
I hope you like dogs. Very good.
We'll call that one a wolf. You'll be fine.
Swiffer.
Yeah.
A menagerie of people will.
Ooh, a menagerie. That sounds sexual.
Anyway, but
I
yeah,
think it just means there's animals.
No, it doesn't.
something.
I really do think it does.
A menagerie?
I think so.
We're gonna look it up.
What's the glass
The glass
menagerie?
men-
the glass
it's-
animals?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
literally glass
Shut
animals.
up. Really?
Yeah, she has very delicate glass
Yeah,
animals.
all over.
I have learned today. I have learned something on this network.
And you know what
Tennessee.
makes it a fable? Somewhere in the fairy tale, there has to be an animal. That's what makes it a fable. That's what differentiates it.
Now, is that an animal that talks? Does it have to
That
interact?
helps.
A unicorn.
What is that word when you give an animal
Personify?
human?
No, no.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Persimmon.
You sure?
Ooh.
I think it's when you give an animal human-like qualities. Like 1984 is actually a fable because it involves animals that have human characteristics.
So is the series Lassie and Rin Tin Tin, are those fables?
Because they don't talk, I'm not sure.
Mr. Ed.
They're talked to and they respond. Mr. Ed
would be a fable.
Fable.
But it has something to do, whatever that word is of making that. But I will look up
God, if
menagerie.
Kat was only here, we would know
animation.
these
I
things.
know, now I have to do my
Animation?
own.
No.
No.
Menagerie is a collection of captive animals, frequently exotic, kept for display, or the place where such a collection is kept. A precursor to the modern zoological garden.
Wow.
It literally,
Aren't you
so glass
something?
menagerie means glass
Well,
animals.
I thought.
And the only
actually-
reason I know that is because in context of the play, The Glass Menagerie, they constantly refer to how fragile she is compared to her collection of glass.
No, that's true.
That is
Forgot
actually
about that,
fragile.
actually.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
actually fragile. Like
That's
Laura,
funny.
I think is her name.
I'd never known that.
Oh, I can go so far into Tennessee Williams with you, you'll be fucking bored to death.
Okay, now that sounded dirty. And you did this with your hand.
Oh, Al, do you have your glasses?
You're gonna
I'm gonna
make.
make.
Do you have your glasses?
Eat enough of this popcorn, you're gonna make. Yes, I do.
Do you need them?
Do
No,
you?
I didn't even take them out. Yes. Here, let me get my purse.
Because mine are in my purse, but my purse is in the car.
You know, as the show has progressed over the past
My
few years,
satchel.
we started with a few different things we kept in studio. Like we had, paper towels, hand sanitizer,
No.
different things. We've kept things along, and then like the various cans of peanuts and
I'll have
cashews and
glasses
stayed.
next week.
So what's happening now is we're going to all have to have glassware in the
Thank you.
studio. Cheaters.
I can go to CVS and I can get 3 of them for like.
I am now.
Yeah.
I do have to keep a pair at work because that's getting to be a pain in the ass because I don't want to. Those are not
Right.
cheaters. Those are actual.
No, I understand.
Paid way too much for some stupid fucking reason.
You like green, that's why.
Yeah, because I
Oh,
like green.
these are just nice though.
But I
God,
have.
they're
I
so
have,
light.
Yeah, they're so light. But I do have to go get a pair that I can just toss, and I don't
Right.
care for the $1.99 if I threw them
And
away.
I do
I
the same
truly
thing.
got
Again,
those,
like
yeah.
Lucille Booth, I don't Bluth.
Bluth.
I don't know how much the bananas cost.
Is this
What's
the-
a banana now?
Is this
$10?
the first day with the new mouth or the
it's
last
not.
day with the old one? I'm not sure which
Last
one
day
for
with
you.
the old one.
Apparently.
No, last week. This is new as of last. Boy, howdy was last week rough.
Okay, by the way, for those listening, both of you, I'd like to express
There
Al.
are 4.
Al gave
5.
me instructions before the show that if he goes anywhere near the coffee pot at any point during this evening's broadcast, I am to stop him. So if he leaves the studio and I bolt immediately following him,
We're gonna have a live
Also-
kitchen cam to capture me. In
you'll
the
understand
I'll
that.
trip you.
He's been apparently wired on coffee since I don't know earlier today.
I'm set somewhere between hear colors or see smells. That's where the dial is today.
If you,
Can it go
if you
up
reach
from there?
I'm not sure.
Well, it just did. If you reach for my Americanos, I will cut you.
I just 2 Americanos.
Oh, I thought you had. I thought one was I'm sorry, macaroni and cheese.
Look
is
at
what I
her
thought.
macaroni.
Well, that's what
that's what
they put it in.
Oh, okay.
A hot, because that's a double insulated cup. And when they give you hot mac and cheese, you don't want it in a fucking little tin or paper cup.
I'm just thinking, I don't want to be the girl walking down the street with a cup full of macaroni and cheese.
Well,
I think that's
I don't
gonna-
want to be the big girl walking down
Right,
the street
exactly.
with
Well,
macaroni and
You've
cheese.
been the girl walking down the street with food before, Al. So
I left the
Hot
French.
dog on a
I
stick.
left the French grocery today, fulfilling some sort of stereotype. I just don't know which one it is. The
gay
fact-
on a bike.
Because you were prancing.
Yes, yeah.
You had a
yes,
parasol.
Yes, Dancer and Prancer
else?
won't stop
How many
playing
bells
those
do you want to
goddamn
ring?
Judy
How many
Go-
bells
yeah.
do you want to ring on
Well,
this?
I feel like I rang so many. at
Clang,
the
clang,
same
clang
time.
goes the trolley. Ding, ding, ding.
This
goes
is
the
my
bell.
point. I left the French grocery on a bike
all wired.
with rosé in my purse and a baguette.
You just said
In
you're
a bag.
not just done.
Right.
Yeah.
So come on.
What shoes are you wearing, Joan?
And then I gave $2 to a homeless person. So there's. I mean,
Oh, and a loaf of bread.
And the
You
loaf
s-
of bread.
oh.
We went all Les
You're
Miserables
a
with it.
giver.
1 day more, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I was seriously
Okay.
just like laughing as I walk.
Were you like, bye-bye, Cosette?
As I walk into a restaurant, interrupt the waiter's evening to be like, "Hey, I need a good rosé. Walk me over to the fridge."
And a baguette.
And then he's like, "Here, pour this." He's like, "No, have a taste of this. It's the red we're pouring today at $5 a glass." So I just walk around this restaurant with a glass of wine that no one asked me to pay for, and I didn't ask for, but it was just assumed I needed
Forced
it.
upon
By
him.
the way, I was vibrating from the
From
coffee.
the coffee from earlier.
somebody give him some booze.
I got my bottle that turned into this whole conversation about Spanish wine that really didn't need to happen. Bought 8 macaroons and then was like, "Hey, you want a loaf of bread? Sure, I must look hungry." So walk out of there and was here by 10 till. Like seriously, it all happened in 5 minutes.
Based
or
on-
in my mind.
And based on your story earlier of recounting all of this, and you said you left your house like at 5 or whatever the hell.
6:30.
So, okay, I thought you meant this morning because it's like you had accomplished a lot, and then I realized you'd done all that in 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Road to a destination.
You frightened
Interactive
me.
with
Conversation,
people?
free coffee. Got bread. Handed out bread.
You frightened me.
My God.
I mean, I love
Look
you.
who's here. A young man just entered
No.
the studio. Kat Carlson is in his
The
house.
first one.
His house. What, my gosh. Kat, gear up. You better grab some coffee, honey.
Something.
She's on it. There you go. Fresh coffee in the
Lord have
AirPods.
mercy.
So I think if we add the
Hope she brought food too. Will give us more to talk about.
Yeah. If we add the horror of this morning, where I stumbled in my pajamas, to use the French.
Stumble, you might fall.
Yeah. Stumbled into my kitchen and realized that the last time I had a day off, I had made up the rest of the coffee beans in my house into like a half a pot of absolutely delicious coffee and had emptied it. And then one day before work, I used the last Verissimo cup and was like, "Oh yeah,
You're
we'll take
always
care of
using
that."
fancy words.
Yeah.
So no, it's a Keurig. And
I know, I'm
Menagerie, Verissimo.
my menagerie of coffee animals. So I stood there in stunned disbelief as I realized there was no way to get no caffeine to get in my person. I had all the implements, just not the fucking coffee. And then yesterday, because I just stayed awake for like 3 or 4 hours because I wanted a delightful 20 hours of sleep, I did laundry while I was awake and put everything away. So I ran around my house going, "Where are my pants? Why don't I have pants?" Because there's always like scrub pants or a pair of
shit my
shorts on the
pants.
floor. Like there's always some
very
article of
convenient.
clothing on the floor where I took them off and could just slip them off and run to the nearest coffee vendor. No, I had to open up drawers and figure out where it is I keep my pants without coffee.
It sounds terrifying.
It really does. It's
I'll have you
exhausting.
know, I know it looked like I was looking under the table, but my eyes were averted the entire time because I'm unsure of the status of your
Yeah,
pants.
that's really a good
He's
call.
Winnie the Poohing his way through the
are
show.
Still Winnie Poohing it because Winnie Poohing it. I know her so well. I left out the article. She's just Winnie Pooh to me. So
That's fair.
Winnie Pooh and I.
Hi, Winnie.
And you can't see at home. I may not be wearing pants. I probably am though.
Again, averted my eyes.
Wise
See,
choice.
don't start touching a
It
doll.
seemed prudent.
Don't start touching a doll.
Seemed the polite
and
thing to
calling
do,
out
honestly.
doll.
And we'd like to see both hands at all times during the show today.
A prudent woman looks down during a story where a gentleman can't find his pants.
That's true.
So that's what I did this week.
Wow. Thank you for wrapping that up in a little succinct
It's
thing.
7:23.
That was a really good,
I'm in.
good entrance for me to make.
That's something.
For crying out loud. But we really haven't gone any further than that story because we've
No,
been.
she fed her mom. It's 2 weeks young.
For real.
from her?
She had a goddamn meal.
Yeah.
She
Fed an old
Why?
woman, got an old man coffee.
She had popcorn.
Was it kibble?
Popcorn.
Kibble.
Yeah.
Bits.
And bits.
and was served with a little attitude. If you watch the video back later, watch the story
gonna
that she
say.
tells. Open
It
bag
was nearly a volleyball spike of
Yeah.
popcorn at the old lady.
here.
Open your fucking mouth. Bam.
What?
That's it.
Should we call CPS? What's happening?
No,
I'm
well,
expecting on next week's show. You know we have rats in the cellar. That's what I'm expecting from her.
I'm not overwhelmed.
By the way, is Mama Di in a wheelchair? Because that would really add to the drama of the story.
No.
Oh, because she could roll
But you
around.
are, Blanche.
But you
Yeah.
are.
No, that whole yeah.
Ah, that'd be great. But
Okay,
no.
I feel like there's a government agency I should send to your house anonymously.
Actually, if you start showing up in baby doll dresses, that's going to be a special day.
Well, for many reasons.
I've written a letter to Daddy.
Well.
Well,
Well.
I'm going to
No.
call Aaron quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be dangerous. Very dangerous.
Yes, it would be. So I fed an older woman this
Oh.
week too. I took Mom to lunch and dinner on Sunday. We spent the entire day together. We went to, and I saw Kat Carlson behind the bar serving
did.
up attitude and swill like it was
Wow.
nobody's business.
what I
The
do.
Dancing for
Beverages.
1 in 10 event at the Tempe Center for the Arts.
Nice.
Went there, enjoyed. Had some issues. There were some technical issues here and there. Blah blah blah. But we all got through it. Nobody died. The coolest thing about the whole event this year, and I was astounded when Travis Shoemake made the announcement. Did you come in the auditorium?
Not at all. No, I was busy with the technical difficulties we had at the bar.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you did. Glad you were there. God
Somebody had
damn.
to be in charge of that shit.
So what
Yeah.
the announcement was this year is this is the 10th year anniversary of the event happening.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
Which means I was 14 the first time. I
10
did it.
years ago, Sway Events on a,
you're full of shit right
on a
now.
drunken night at Roscoe's, Sway Events
This one.
got this crazy idea, and this is where it all came from.
Right.
Actually, Selena Vega told me that it was her at Roscoe's drunk. She called Gary Guerin or text Gary Guerin or whatever,
I can
and
believe
that's how
that.
this all came
That's
to
funny
be.
because I heard it was them at home drunk.
She
having that
said,
idea. I mean, either way, it was Selena
may
and
have
Gary
considered-
drunk
People
in
were
an
drunk,
idea, right?
right.
But they may have considered their home Roscoe's at that time.
or they may have come home from Roscoe's.
Good call.
Any one of those things.
Oh, no.
Anywho, this year there were 8 contestants, and in those 8 contestants, they raised more money between those 8 contestants from this year than from the 9 previous years total.
Combined,
Oh.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
They
Crazy
raised
talking.
before they factored in ticket sales, booze sales, and some other things. They were at $76,000 or $77,000 at the
Shit.
at the
Of
close
just contestant
right of just
raising.
yeah at the, and the winner who was Stella from
Stella
Cobalt,
Prince from Cobalt. We're
from
very
Cobalt.
proud.
Cobalt.
Cobalt
Is
Yeah,
that
started
a
Cobalt
it.
won
winner?
it.
We're winners.
And
Winners.
but she raised more money than anybody has ever raised at 23,000 and change
Oh,
just
wow.
by the one contestant.
God, that's
The
great.
prior record was Mark Howard last year, who showed up with $10,000 in his pocket.
And 10 grand, you were
Wow.
like,
It's nothing
the
to
fuck?
sneeze at. You were like, "What the fuck, Mark
Right.
Howard?" Because
Yeah.
the winner the year before that won with $500. Like,
Oh, wow.
that
You're
jump has
kidding.
been
Wow.
yeah.
You get the right people
I don't know a
in
lot
there.
about math, but that seems like
That's-
it's growing
it seems-
exponentially.
In addition to that being a wonderful event, like I said, Mom and I went to lunch. We rolled around town. We had a good time. Enjoyed the day.
Warm pavement for
I
rolling
learned.
around.
Well, yeah, we had a vehicle. We were in Indora.
Seems awfully
The other
dirty.
thing that I realized, and it's funny, that you would think that I would have already known this based on who I know in town, people that I'm already familiar with, maybe go on an occasional bike outing with. I learned that the news media in this town is a hell of a lot gayer than I thought it was.
Oh, fuck yeah.
OMG.
Okay.
I did not realize.
It's a lot of manliner.
Hella Mo's.
It is. It's crazy.
Mo's.
In fact,
That's
one of
funny.
them. One of
Chock
them.
full of Mo's.
Remember, I told the story back in December.
Mo's at 5. We'll
More
be
Mo's
back.
at 9, yeah.
Next Mo's at 11.
You want news? We got Mo's.
The Mo's News.
We've got Mo's News. That's right. On Fox.
We have a
Literally,
traffic
truly, I mean that.
alerts. There's wind.
Stop it. Did you see that car? It went super fast.
People think I'm exaggerating when I talk about all the news Mo's that I know, but no, it's a lot.
Didn't
There's a lot of
realize it.
news
So
gays
we're
here.
sitting there, in our first seat because we were having a balcony at first, then we got moved down to the front row later, but that's a different story. But remember back in December when
Nope.
Yes, you do. When George Michael passed away, I told you that Mark Martinez had sent me a text. Can we be at your house at 1 o'clock to interview you? And I'm like, fuck no, you can't, because I had been crying all the night before and I wasn't ready. Well, the reporter that he wound up sending later that afternoon was there. I hadn't seen Ty in person. I had not seen him since December. Well, he's there, and they're all cheering for Jared Dillingham, who is Channel 3, Channel 5 news reporter from them. Okay? I didn't know, I'd never met Jared Dillingham, didn't know anything about him. I knew Selena Vega was dancing with him, but I didn't know anything about, but there was this huge section cheering for Jared. Like,
Can we spell his first name?
Which one? Jared? Traditional spelling, Jared.
Okay, because there's like 9 different spellings of Jared.
Jared Dillingham, Dillingham. Anywho, so there's all this group, and then Mark Martinez walks in, and I tap because they were all encouraging Mark to come sit with us, and I tap Ty, and I'm like, he's your responsibility because you invited him over here. So the whole media group was all there. So anywho, I find out later Ty Brennan and Jared Dillingham are a couple. No fucking idea about this.
Oh, I'd watch those two have sex. I'm not,
so then
I'm currently staring at a lovely photo of Jared, traditional spelling, on his Twitter page, and I already know what Ty looks like.
Yeah, so there's those two. Then there's
as pretty as a picture.
Brandon Lee, who's on Channel 3.
Sure.
He's another hottie.
No relation to Bruce.
No, absolutely not.
From what I understand.
No, I mean, maybe distant. Maybe he's adopted. I don't know. But no.
I think he's adopted.
But he, anyway, I just learned that there's a hell of a lot more gays in the media in this valley than I ever knew before.
Alice.
What? Oh, Channel 3 News. There he is.
Channel 3. You got your Brandon Lee, you got your Jared Dillingham, you got your Ray J, you got your RJ
that's
Johnson.
the man. Remember I said manliner?
You got your
real
Mo
loud?
number 1 and your Mo number 2.
That's who I meant.
Okay.
Because he's either suffering from that disease that the guy from Lost has, where he always looks like he has eyeliner on. He was on Bates Motel.
Guyliner is the cute term you're looking for.
Oh, guyliner.
Guyliner.
What do you call it?
Because it rhymes.
What would you calling it?
Manliner. I don't know.
No.
That sounds like something to keep him from making a mess. in his
Guyliner
panties.
is a much better approach to
Guyliner's
this.
cuter, yeah.
No.
But because there's that guy from Lost that was on
Did they
the one
find
that never
him?
aged on Lost, and then he was on Bates Motel. Look, I'm flinging my hair like it's long.
Was he a black guy?
No,
because
Hey,
they never
Sharon.
aged.
But
Hey,
he
Sharon,
has the
what's going
permanent.
on?
He has the
Whoa.
permanent.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like he has it. So I don't know if this guy's wearing guyliner or he just has that same affliction where the
Affliction.
Well, he does have really dark eyelashes, and it kind of does look like it.
yeah.
But again, and another thing that is
Elizabeth Taylor had that where she always looked like
she did.
No, because she had the violet eyes with the and she had that thing that looked like guyliner. That when they couldn't make her eyes look unmade up because she suffered from guyliner.
On ladies, they just call it eyeliner because it's not on a guy.
No, but it's when it's not. You know what I mean? Like the guy
Yes.
on Lost isn't wearing eyeliner.
Isn't wearing eyeliner, right.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that Brandon.
I'm just picking your story apart. 'cause
Tartikoff?
I know. Well, I don't know. I think it was his story, but
That's how I like to.
No, I just was.
but I'm out of raisins. There's lots of Mo's.
No, Brandon Lee. Brandon Tartikoff was an NBC CEO way
Yeah,
back in the
that's totally
80s.
different. I think dead.
Brandon Lee, I don't know.
I don't know. I think so.
Brandon Lee's the other one. Anyway, I just learned that there were a whole bunch more that I didn't know. And then, of course, we've got the lovely and talented Nico Santos from Channel 12,
Yeah.
who the first day I saw him, I was like, who is he? And our friend Mark Martinez introduced me to him. Anyway, it was just interesting to learn how much friendlier the airwaves were than I had previously thought they were.
Absolutely.
Very interesting. But anyway, it was a great day running around with Mom, and we went to one of my clients, which is the Toddy's Asian Fusion over in Scottsdale. Again, stimulating talk radio for those of you who don't live close. It's a lovely Asian restaurant over in Scottsdale. And we went to have lunch because Mom had not been there in a while. So we were eating whatever, and Mom had one of the egg rolls, and then it comes with the hot mustard. And we were having a discussion about the fact that for whatever reason, you can't buy that hot mustard in the store. Like, no matter what they say, it's it's original, it's authentic, it's whatever. It ain't that mustard.
Well, they're usually
Secrets in
homemade.
the sauce.
I'm gonna get to the rest of my story.
I'm sorry.
So we ask her son about it, and he says, "Oh yeah, it comes in a powder form. We make it, and then we add spices and whatever the hell they add to it." So we go back in the kitchen, and Toddy fucking pours us 2 little things of it, gives it to us, separates out, puts it in bags. She was the most adorable thing. So it was kind of funny. But we've got this hot mustard, and I made a sandwich last night with
Yeah.
it.
Woo.
Oh dear God!
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was hot.
funny.
I'd forgot. It's different when you're in an Asian restaurant eating it on an egg roll and with other stuff, but when it's just You slathered it on a piece of bread.
Yeah, when you spread it on bread like it wasn't hot.
Yeah. So I could breathe for hours on end because I was open. Everything was open and good.
It's a happy little side effect.
It was. It is good. It's like when you have horseradish and it just kind of hits that palate in your mouth and boom, everything's open. It's always good. So anyway, that's the gist, I guess, of what I got going.
I like it.
I mean, there's always other shit going on, but those are the exciting things.
Hi, Jenny.
That was exciting.
Oh, by the way, and if you haven't noticed, the flags
haven't
are
seen Jenny for
larger
a
in
long
the
time,
chat
feels
room,
like.
so I can
Hi.
at least see them from here.
Right.
And I sent a link to the cutie, that is the Brandon Lee, no relation, to and I just am in love with this picture. I think he's just totes adorbs.
Does it show his sleeves?
No, it's just a picture of his lovely face with his guy liner. He doesn't really have guy liner on though.
Oh, well, you'll find other
I
pictures.
don't know what that guy liner
If you
affliction
follow
is
him
called.
on Twitter like I do, you'll find his Instagrams and all that other stuff. He's one of those people that you would never know to look at on air, but he is tatted from here to here. He has just ink, and he just adopted a rescue dog. So he's been posting a lot about that. But when you look at him, you would never have any idea that, off air and on his own free time, he's totally tatted up.
He's
and,
a rebel.
Yeah, he'll never be any good.
Bad boys, bad boys.
Heavens to
What you gonna
Murgatroyd.
do?
He gets more intriguing by the minute.
Inch by inch. I was talking about how his arms. You go up each arm. There you go. Kat Carson, you've been real busy, I'm sure. Take it away.
Well, my gosh, I think that the Dancing with 1 in 10 was also the highlight of my week. Cobalt was the top fundraiser, and going into it, we knew that we were one of the top fundraisers, and so they took like 5 of the top fundraising contestants and offered them the pleasure of working the bar, which I feel like should go to the bottom fundraisers.
Oh, good point.
But here,
Mixed messages.
Congratulations.
Here's a
go
job.
to work.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway,
And if I'm not mistaken, like $37 is what separated the two top fundraisers at that point, if I'm not mistaken.
between
that's
Stella and Brad.
I believe that's what it was. $37.
So like
I'm
two
not
people
sure.
raised over $20,000 in this.
Each.
40,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, thank you for
Combined, $40,000.
First, I was going to give you the finger, but then I thanked you.
I'm helping our listeners, our
Yeah.
kind
If you'd like us
listeners.
to do the math for you, please let us know.
Well, yeah, that's a very fun event, and I'm always one of the first ones to volunteer for those kind of events because then I get to see all my favorite people. Kyle Ward was there, and Anthony Hugger, and some very young but cute boys that I didn't know from Bliss Rebar, and
I didn't even see who was from Bliss Rebar. Didn't
I
even
don't
see
know.
who that was.
They were 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were chill.
Okay.
And we applaud you for not noticing them.
Okay. Well, that's that.
Yes, for
Yeah.
real.
And we
He sold the truck. He's not looking at the
No,
children. I mean, really,
no.
diversion therapy. The aversion therapy is.
Oh, and I now have earnest money on the one I sold. So like it's on its way. It's literally on its way out.
What does that mean?
I don't
So-
know.
Wait, what did you sell?
Down payment on my white truck.
What do you mean he had earnest money
That's
on
what
it?
he threw out a $100 bill at me and goes, here's earnest money towards the truck.
Oh, so you loaned it to him for now.
So it's not actually sold.
No, it's no.
Wait, let's talk
I
about
still
this
have
truck deal
possession
for a
of it.
minute.
There it is.
I have
All
possession.
right.
It's kind
All
of like
right.
a rent-a-truck.
I got to take that kudos card
no.
back that I wrote the therapist.
He has not taken possession. He has just secured his purchase by giving me a down payment on the vehicle.
So
Baby
last
steps.
week's question, what did you do with that $7, was really pretty appropriate.
right on.
No, because there were 93 other dollars with it.
Are you sure?
And there's going to be 1,400 following it.
Oh, all
It's a full 15.
All right.
It's a full 15er.
Anyway, otherwise I had a lovely
Ouch.
week. I apologize for my tardiness tonight. The kids are back to school.
Oh,
and
do
there was
tell what your
a-
meeting was about. What'd you do?
Yeah.
Would you have to tell somebody off? You have to drag somebody through a ditch and say, listen,
Then
bitch.
what happened?
honestly,
you
that
dirty
job.
whore.
Honestly, I stayed home with the kids so that Sharon could go because
Oh,
it's
that's
an
not
adults
nearly as
only
exciting
kind
as
of a
the story.
thing.
Got
Yeah,
it.
so I
So what'd you do with the kids in that time?
played in the pool.
Got it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's time well spent.
Right.
That's
I
not
thought so.
nearly as exciting of a story as I was hoping you were going to bring to the table tonight.
It's not. And we
But it's
considered-
honest. It's honest.
Well, and the kids are old enough. We considered just leaving kind of a gap so that I could be here on time and they would be home alone for about 20 minutes. But upon arrival home from school today,
There was a fire.
yeah.
And there was
there was an incident. So last night, no, I am going to tell a story now. So
You dared her. You
It's
dared
all right.
her.
I'm okay. I'm
I
okay.
was trying to bail out of it, but no.
No?
So last night, get this. This will actually interest you, I bet. So I'm standing in my kitchen. It's like 8:30 at night, and of course Sharon's getting ready for bed because it's
Yeah.
You know, the
8:30
sun's
at
still
night.
up.
Like you do,
Right.
Right.
Gotta beat that sun.
Totally understand.
Going to bed before that orange thing.
I'm gonna
Right.
win. I'm
Honey, I
gonna
haven't
win.
had dinner yet, but good night. So see you tomorrow.
Yep.
So I'm just like standing in the kitchen, kind of chatting with her, kind of playing on my phone than listening to her. But anyway, she's, you know.
Typical Monday night.
Typical Monday night.
Yep.
We've watched our Game of Thrones. She's off to bed. And we're, you know, in the kitchen, and she sets the timer before she goes to bed for the coffee pot so that it's ready in the morning. And so she does her thing and whatever, and walks away to go brush her teeth and get ready for bed. And I'm just sitting there playing on my phone. And behind me, I hear like this crackling sound. And I'm like, well, what the hell? Did the coffee pot start? And then all of a sudden, the coffee pot is smoking.
Oh,
I know.
Territons, Marlboro, what's it doing?
Yeah.
Right. Good call. Good
Benson and Hedges.
Oh my God! Old school.
Menthol.
But
Also
no,
like-
apparently there was some kind of a short,
Jan
and it
Brewer,
was
bro.
shorting out on my counter for virtually no reason. So I unplugged the thing and, you know,
Do it in the pool.
threw it in the pool.
I want to make sure that fire is out.
Yeah.
No, there was never actually any actual flame. It was just that electrical
Yeah,
smell.
yeah.
You know what
that
I mean?
kind of a plasticky
that
burning.
electrical
Yes,
smoke.
I understand.
Ugh. So yeah, got to go on a Target run. So I set the thing outside and was like, well, I'll deal with it tomorrow, and maybe I'll look at it, or maybe I'll just herk it in the trash. It's a $30 coffee pot for crying out
yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
So we're not going to worry a lot about it, but maybe I'll look into a warranty because it's reasonably new. Anyway, so I set it outside. All day today goes by just fine. I pick up the kids from school. I get home. We do a little homework, and I'm ignoring the kids for a little while. And Sharon comes home from work, and she says, did you give him permission to go beat the hell out of the coffee pot?
Oh.
Yeah, he had apparently taken it upon himself to decide that
Well,
was trash. And
I'm gonna
and
just suggest that
Just demolish
possibly
it.
he has listened to Marnie praise the stress relief of her boxing.
I'm just
and
telling you.
Maybe he took a hammer and realized, I got some little
He's-
kitty stress.
he's
and I'm
not
gonna-
allowed to listen to this.
He
show.
saw Office Space.
He's not
Maybe
allowed.
he might have
Take
seen
care of
Office
that
Space.
problem.
No, that might be a thing.
Well,
but
did
yeah,
he-
there he was in the middle of the lawn beating the hell out of a coffee pot with a stick.
I'm telling you, it's
Oh, with
a
a
good
stick.
release.
That's not.
It's good. I
Do you
praise
think
him.
he felt better?
Probably not, because then he came in the house and I yelled at him for beating up my shits.
No, see.
God,
And that's-
damn. See, he got rid of his stress, and then
Right.
all of a sudden he's like, "Oh
And
my
then he
God,
has more. Now he's
More
gonna go beat the
stress.
shit out of something else.
Well,
A
I
person.
mean, hopefully it's a Nazi. That's all I gotta
Well,
say.
there you go. If you can find a Nazi, son, beat the fuck out of it.
By the way, we'd like to welcome our newest sponsor to the show, Tiki
Nazis.
Torches. Made in America for you. Not anybody in particular. Just, if you like a torch, they're yours to have.
It's brought to you by Bic.
So yeah, so that's my anecdote of the week. We almost burned our house down with a coffee pot, which
Oh.
gave me a nice, 9:30 at
though.
night trip to
Scary.
Target.
What'd you get? What's the new coffee pot?
This one's a Black and Decker.
Oh,
Nice.
exciting.
I know.
You know that's part of the story I'm waiting for. So what you
So what'd you get? No, I know. That's exactly why I asked that. I know.
Yeah, we're just boring old drip coffee kind of people. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, it's
You need to have all of it. I have a French press. I have the Verissimo. I have the standard drip.
a menagerie. He's got all of it.
If I knew how to use a fucking percolator, I would have that because percolated coffee is delicious.
My mother used to always swear by her old percolator
Just
coffee.
load it
Mom,
up
you'll
and stick it
remember
on the stove.
we had a
Yeah,
old-
but there's a gentle
Are you
art to
talking the
that.
silver, like the...
Yeah.
you
The
put it
art is
on
in
It
the
was an
filter.
old-
The art is in the filter.
old West Bend coffee pot
Otherwise you
she
end up
had
with
for
all grounds.
100 years.
Totally remember that.
But she loved the percolated.
The water boils and bubbles, and it drenches the
grounds?
The grounds sitting on
Is
top.
that the thing that you like? You take it out and
basket.
It has
Yeah.
the-
Yeah.
yeah.
Please don't ever make that gesture again.
Take it out and pull.
I have to stop.
I don't
Ew,
know.
that's just gross.
I-
You made me laugh about I'm just clicked
I
on
did?
Facebook. Yeah, that they are the Eric Cartman of people. I almost
Well,
peed my fucking
would you
pants.
put in context?
Oh my God.
Tell in context what I was referencing.
So there was
For those of you who do understand who Eric Cartman is from South Park,
from South Park, Jacob Triweather.
right?
How many statues of Hitler are standing in public areas in Germany right now? How about Saddam Hussein busts around town squares in Iraq? That's what happens when you lose a war. You don't get remembered fondly. You get turned into a lesson to teach or warn younger generations. And rightfully so. And he goes on, blah, blah, blah. So in speaking of these fucking morons, you just
Nazis.
they are the Eric Cartman of people.
Well, because
and
Eric
it's
Cartman
a
is
perfect visual.
because Eric Cartman, you will respect my authority.
Yeah, kitty.
Yeah, he thinks everything he does is right. Everything everybody else does is wrong.
Yeah.
He deserves everything.
Now, do I give the salute?
Oh, yeah. It just cracks me the fuck up. But she's pretty close on the old
Yeah,
voice.
that's-
Yeah.
So,
Heil Hitler.
but that's exactly.
Yay, it's a voices show.
It's gonna be before we're done.
We don't know.
No, but they were. That's exactly right. They're all like little Eric Cartmans who think that
It's
you know.
hysterical. They can get away with anything.
anything they want.
They're just
Yeah.
That's
And-
fantastic. When
Okay, I'm
I
sorry. You know.
And then
that
just a little piece that needs to be put out as often as we can is that these statues were all, mostly, not all, but what is it, like 80% of the statues that are being protested were put up in the 20s
Yes.
right.
as a result of the rollback of rights. They have nothing to do with the war,
Right.
the
That's
revolution,
true,
They have everything to do with racism and nothing to do with the Confederacy.
The Confederacy or the Civil War, honoring the dead. They're just kind of mocking the fact that rights were being taken away and the Jim Crow laws were being established and put into effect. Like there's no grand old history
It was
here.
it was
And
the
just-
Roaring Twenties version of Make America Great
Great
Again.
Again,
Is what happened.
Right. And Summer and Danielle, have a good night.
Oh my God! So early,
Well,
early to bed.
you know.
night, kids.
And love you right back. You guys are not. They are not near. If they've already gone to bed, near Oklahoma City. Is that correct?
No, they are east and a little bit north of Tulsa, actually.
Okay,
Where's
that's
Dale with
where
that map?
I couldn't. Well, exactly.
Like, if you
Meow
leave-
Cal, we need Meow
If you
Cal.
leave Tulsa and you start heading northeast towards my hometown of Joplin,
Sure.
you pass through there or by their little hometown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because with all
Very
with all
helpful.
that fucking craziness of look, I want to be Timothy McVeigh
No.
because I'm a fucking moron. I it just kind of seized me a little bit, and then I went, "Are they near there? Is that a thing?" And so I'm just glad everybody is okay.
Well, now that we've gone past our "What Have You Done All This Week," we will go into our next segment.
Ooh.
It's very exciting that we have these sound cues because we haven't done everything yet. But this segment is called Obsession. Because what have you been obsessing over all this past week? And we'll start with Kat Carlson.
Oh my gosh. Well, kind of Nazis.
Kind of.
No, I was earlier today reading up on the Reconstruction, believe it or not, the not sexy part
Right.
of the Civil War, which was very interesting. But the thing that I was going to choose before all of the Nazis is the podcast Constitutional. So Lillian Cunningham from the Washington Post did the podcast Presidential, where she went a week at a time through all of the presidents. She's back with a brand new podcast called Constitutional, where she's discussing the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And she's taking a really interesting take. Like the very first episode you would think would be like, the First Amendment or Article. No. It was about Native Americans and their struggle to become people and recognized through the Constitution. So like just her like sideways take at it. I can't wait to see how this goes. So that's I've been checking. They post on Mondays, I think. So I've got
And I have to
episode to
a
download.
huge endorsement for her presidential podcast.
Oh yeah, if you haven't listened to that
haven't
one.
listened to that, that is a fascinating listen, and just short most of them are short, some of them are a little bit longer.
They're all about 45 minutes. The presidential ones are 45 minutes to an hour. And again, like not just the stats of, was born, died, killed these many people, whatever presidents do.
A little bit of gossip, a little bit of history,
Yeah.
a little bit of the schemes and machinations of how they got elected.
Oh, machinations.
Yeah, just
He is
like
full
that.
of words today.
He's
new
full
mouth
of
works.
something. Full of something.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and her thing was
like that.
about like what did or didn't make each president an effective president. Like what about him, what about his style or his approach or
The
the
times,
circumstances,
right.
made this president effective
Morris
or not
Day.
effective, as the case may be. How
or
history remembers
people
him.
that, and how history remembers them. And one of the things that's gonna I don't know if it was on her show or it was on a commentary that I was following along with that was saying that like Clinton may in the end go down as a very ineffective president. Like as time goes on, he's gonna be between conflicts, there's no great
Right.
there's no great recession or depression, there's no great war, there's no great
Middle of the road.
struggle.
Who's middle of the road?
There was a lot of appeasement to the other side to make baby steps towards, you know what I mean? Like he's going to be
There was a
seen
lot of
as
compromise. There was Don't Ask, Don't
he's
Tell. There was
kind of like an
a
exposition
good
episode
comedy.
to better things that were coming, to more interesting people that were coming.
Right.
And that he may already know it. Like in interviews with him, he may already see himself as a president that's going to be kind of like lily white. You know what I mean? Kind of
Right.
milk toast. That's the phrase I'm looking for.
Oh, milk.
I do love milk toast.
I do too. Just the spelling. So I'm not sure if that was
sugar.
from his episode or the commentary that I heard on it, or
I don't remember either.
Yeah, there's a presidential historian that's making the rounds, whose name again I'm going to share my microphone cord. There's a presidential historian going around that's really getting a lot of airtime.
Like interview
Michael
time?
Beschloss
I think it's him
from MSNBC.
Pretty lips. Him got
No,
pretty mouth.
not Michael Beschloss.
Well, I'm not saying he is good looking. I'm just saying he's got a pretty mouth.
No, not Michael Beschloss. Then.
Blue eyes.
No. Dark hair. Looks like maybe the old.
Oh no, this guy's like a gray, like a salt and pepper gentleman.
No.
Pretty mouth. Anyways, he's the one that's been putting a lot of presidents into context, and it's been interesting to watch.
Okay.
It's a different perspective on Trump to like close your eyes and pretend he's somebody else and then give that. But I'm all about that because me and the podcast are.
Yeah, constitutional.
Thick.
So you'll have to, if you did subscribe to presidential, you'll have to go find constitutional separately. It's not going to be on the same feed. It's going to be on a new feed. So if you're thinking it's going to show up because you listen to presidential, it's not.
Okay.
So you have to go look for it
Good to know.
wherever you find podcasts. But it's on all the things, and it's just starting, so you can listen along because I'm sure that'll make Obsession more than once. Because she's just. I don't know. There's something about her, and she's got a nice, like, kind of fall asleep voice, but kind of like gets into your brain. Like you can easily be soothed to sleep by her.
She definitely has. I am subscribed.
Except for I can't stand the way that she D's her T's. Like she says button and mountain.
Oh, mine is the lady that does the
That is
criminal
not
one.
right.
The criminal one. That's the way she says "dot com."
pattern.
Like, all of a sudden, she gets this weird hokey accent at "dot com."
I
Marina.
love it. Martin?
This sucks.
It has easily just been hatred
Yeah.
as far as that goes. Like just kind of astonished.
Like feeling it or researching it or
astonished by it. And the fact that I keep being surprised by it makes me happy because I haven't gotten to that point.
We haven't
where I'm like,
we haven't normalized
we
it.
haven't normalized it.
Again, I'll interrupt you too.
Yeah,
As
I
I
appreciate
share my
that.
microphone
I'm
cord
sh-
again.
And I'm
Sharon,
also,
maybe
and
you
I'm,
should
and I'm
consider
shocked.
maybe a front to there.
Yeah.
But I
Woo.
had a very similar reaction today, and actually kind of thought it out loud to myself that like I'm glad that we haven't normalized this yet. That I am still shocked.
Yeah, I'm appalled by the behavior, and the behavior I can't come to terms with if I'm more irritated. This probably sounds stupid as hell, but more irritated with the fucking backwoods entitled white upper class preppy bullshit.
Yeah,
More
these aren't
fucking-
farmers.
No, but I mean it's like all of this, right?
My apologies to farmers. That sounded
Absolutely.
really wrong.
But I don't know if I'm more upset by that and appalled by that, or the people that just keep accepting it and keep accepting
Making excuses
for
the guy on
whether
my
it
page,
be
a friend of mine from childhood,
Trump
Michael Zimmerman.
and
If you're
this,
listening, the
yeah.
fact that you immediately found a way to blame Obama for this,
right.
Like it didn't even take. It was the first comment on my
Yeah.
saying something was to blame Obama, and I'm like, wow, from someone that I actually know,
Right.
that your gut reaction to someone Nazi saluting our president, your reaction is how does that make you look?
Right.
That we would think something bad about you for feeling the same way as these guys, and the fact that you went to blaming Obama.
Absolutely. And that's even a thought. And I don't know the obsession part of it is because every time I don't know if I've mentioned before that my mom appreciates Yahoo alerts.
Yeah.
And
I'll bet this has been a trying time for you.
Because it was a trying day without the Yahoo alerts.
Is there a special sound that Yahoo alerts make on a phone? That
I was
Oh,
hoping
we
it
should
was
get
this.
it. We should get it.
we need to get it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just play it during
I'm
the
going
show.
to
I'm gonna go find it right now.
PTSD
Yeah,
instead of
somebody,
fucking twitching, but it makes me insane whenever he comes on the TV. And he makes those goddamn faces all the time, and he's so he's a 4-year-old, you know.
Again,
that's
our apologies
being,
to the 4-year-old.
4-year-old, right? And then you have
Demographic right there, 4-year-old children.
and the people that want to blame Obama or Hillary or whomever, when Barack's response to this whole fucking thing wasn't to wait 3 days, just like Dickwad did with the Muslim.
Katrina.
No. I'm talking current Dickwad.
Current Dickwad.
The current Dickwad for in Oregon, the Muslim girls that those people came in. The 3 guys, one of them died, I believe.
Or the bombing of the mosque.
Absolutely.
That he had nothing to say about.
And it's like 3 days, and even then he's like, well, I don't know. But you have Obama who comes out right away. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love.
That's the Nelson Mandela quote.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what his response to this whole thing was, to give that, I don't know, maybe it's just that reassuring fucking hug. I don't know. Maybe it's...
I don't want the creepy orange guy giving me a reassuring hug.
I don't want the creepy orange guy.
I will
anywhere
not be
fucking near
assured
me
or reassured.
at all.
Yeah. The thing that I can't get over is that in the years of the Klan, the robes, you had to think, well, they know what this would do to them on a personal level if they didn't have the hood on.
Right.
Like they were cowardly enough to put on a hood so that they could walk down the street and act like they were Christians.
But now
they're these fucking white kids. White boys,
Millennial clans.
Millennial clan members that are screaming blood and soil. That was the peaceful part of the thing that the orange dumpster fire. Again, the Oprah thing. I'm not saying someone's name, but he was talking about the peaceful part. What they were doing was surrounding a church with torches, screaming blood and soil. But they don't have hoods on. They're there in their, like, what did Michael Rappaport say? In their skinny jeans and their fucking Starbucks coffees, running around.
And
Looking
their
like
preppy shirts
and their little button-down shirts, privileged
as hell.
fucktards as all get out.
And what are you gonna do to me?
Well, they're getting fired from their jobs.
No, I know.
because
But I'm
everything.
saying that's what I think they looked at.
Now the campaign is out on Twitter, and I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely.
If you're and get the guys in the hoods too. Find out where they went home to.
Right.
Put that, because again, I'm always saying, if you're racist or you want to put up your no cakes to gays, put it on your window. Own it proudly. And you know, these little fucktards, they're going to find out what owning it proudly leads to, because it's free speech, but we have free speech too. So we're going to make sure.
Right.
That's what some people were saying. You expected maybe 10 to 15 really old white guys to be out there. If anyone was going to be out there, protesting this. Really old guys. Not these 20-year-olds.
No, I did.
Oh, that's exactly who I expect.
No. That's what they were on the news. That's what.
But those of us that have been paying
presented.
attention, we know it's 20-year-old white
You're
white
right.
douchebags.
How long have I been
I'm
saying
still
those are the people
surprised.
I'm most afraid of?
Yeah, and
Is
then
a college age white man with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, who thinks
That's the
who
terrorist.
thinks rape's
You're right.
okay,
You're right.
and thinks whatever crime he commits, he should put on Facebook.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make him cooler. He's going to get more friends.
And Jenny's right. Dunce caps. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's dunce caps.
it is. Again, with our apologies to the dunces.
Yeah, Dale.
That's twice you've apologized to
yeah,
people.
And
I
Dale's,
wrote it down.
Dale's
Thrice.
family.
Thrice?
Dale's
Farmers.
family has there are a
And
couple
dunces.
people
4-year-olds.
Oh,
that are in it that he just is. He goes back and forth with constantly. One of his brothers is just too fucking much. Dale's brothers. It's too much.
Yeah.
How they just continue to
But-
believe in this.
But
stuff.
you don't have to. There's two things. You don't have to wait.
course that's
later.
Two things. You don't have to wait very long. I would say too long, but we've said that word too many times. You don't have to wait very long for the people that thought Beyonce's backup dancers were equivalent to the KKK to find the people watching a Nazi march with the KKK to justify it. Because to them, Beyonce's backup dancers were already the most evil thing on the planet. So these people burning torches, shouting at churches, are nothing. Beyonce already did it. She did the Super Bowl half show as some kind of Black Power salute that rocked them to their core. So this is just the honest response.
Boys will be boys.
Well, yep, the honest response. And I went to bed Monday morning, got off work, watched the news, saw the forced apology of an 8-year-old for spilling Hawaiian punch on the couch, which is exactly what that speech from the Orange Dumpster Fire sounded like. Like his mom was behind him, telling him, "You have to go apologize to the nice lady who you spilled juice on her couch." It was so forced,
I'm sorry, I
so
spilled juice on your
contrived.
couch.
The body language was so appalling, and I giggled. I went into my bed, laid down, and I was like, "So is it going to be today when I wake up, or tomorrow morning when I wake up, that he's going to give an unscripted press conference and the tires are going to come off this bus and just slide down a hill?"
It's predictable. I don't know why his staff can't figure it out, because
Right.
it's super predictable.
And it was something that
Put
I was...
him in the bunker for a week after he says what you want him to say.
It was my own visions of sugar plums dancing in my head as I went to sleep. It's like, yep, Fox's News is going to have like a half a day of something really good before they have to... Tucker Carlson I watched 10 minutes of Tucker Carlson today.
That's a lot.
Yeah, he was just so upset for white people. Oh my God.
No relation, by the way.
White people have just been suffering.
Santa just
I
is
actually
white.
am on board with all of what you said, but because of video production of what I had to just do, I kind of just did that and prepared for our next segment that we have to do. So there's that.
There's nothing this week that's upset you? Come on.
All that you just bitched about.
All right.
I've been just following along thinking, the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm just, astounded by just
How many of you are scared about? I don't know. Scared. That's going to be my word. Just speaking for myself. Scared as to who you are involved with or close to, or that you share things with and you talk to, that you're like, they believe that stuff.
Yeah.
They're good with that, but they're closeted about it, right? They're not coming up, but that frightens the fuck out of me.
But I
like that sheep, or the wolf in the mist, the midst.
Yeah.
Of whatever, wasn't that
the
what
fox
it
in
is?
the hen house.
The fox in the hen house.
Where we
Whatever.
going?
it
The
is.
I don't know.
Mist of Avalon?
No.
Yeah.
No.
But
Wolves in the hen house.
I honestly am kind of grateful now for all of the people that I deleted over the Beyonce at the Super Bowl thing. Like, I honestly, because I know those people are the ones, and the two people I have left on my page from the Beyonce at the Super Bowl, one of the two was the person who immediately needed to blame Obama.
Yeah.
That was his gut reaction was, well, Obama is a horrible person and hates white people.
Absolutely not.
Right, because he denied them housing and all that stuff. So, I mean, but you could see it, like, writ large.
Yeah.
Sugar plums. Fairies.
Yeah.
Oops, what the hell was that? I forgot what was
What
playing.
the hell is going on? Free speech isn't free of consequences, Aaron, exactly.
Yeah.
True.
Very true.
Let's get that t-shirt.
And while we're on that subject of free speech, there's a difference between expressing your opinion and speaking against the government and inciting violence and hate speech. The Supreme Court's been over this. Like, violent
out
hate
front of a
speech
church
is not
with a
protected by the
torch.
First Amendment. Standing out in front of the church screaming, "I'm going to burn you motherfuckers down," is not protected by the First Amendment. That's not the right thing. That's not the same thing.
Right.
Saying that our president is a bumble-faced buffoon idiot that couldn't find the left hand with the right hand, that is protected by free
And a
speech.
fair
We can say that
assessment.
all the time. Right, and a pretty accurate picture.
Yeah, really accurate.
That is protected by the First Amendment.
He
But
can find his own left hand because it's white.
It just is white. Yeah.
Left hand just is white.
Applause.
Well done.
Oh my gosh,
It's been a nutty week.
It has
has.
been. It has been enjoyable though listening, because like I said, I keep news on in the background all the time. But as you go through each show, like earlier in the day, when news starts to break or something is said, and then it finally gets delineated down through all of the different hosts, and you get to the end where Brian Williams.
Delineated is a really good word.
You're
too.
welcome. I'm trying to match this bitch.
You're just trying to keep up. I know. I
As
get
it goes through all of the cycles, I mean, my boyfriend I watch, but I'm not real big on Lawrence. But by the time you get to Brian Williams has been through all of this like for years. Like he's been a reporter for many years. Used to be at the White House and all this kind of stuff. He's already been down these roads for in some of these cases. So when we finally get to him,
I feel like he's a little young to know about Nazis though.
No. I understand that, but I'm saying
not firsthand.
No, but like all of the
not OG Nazis.
with the exception of Chris Matthews, who was a speechwriter and who was in administrations and so forth. But like Chris Hayes, Rachel, Lawrence was in the Senate or something to that effect. He was in with them as well. But Brian was at least a reporter in the press corps at the White House, and he's older, not as old as Lawrence is, but still, I just like the way his take on it when he gets there and he's got the people, like they just have drug it through everywhere, and he's making references to other stuff, and all of a sudden you're like, I shouldn't be hearing this at 48 years old in my life. In 2017, I shouldn't be hearing this conversation. We shouldn't be having this conversation. But there we fucking are.
And I have to, I have to add him to my obsessions, and I will make him my very own some other time. But I live for and wait for the 11th Hour with Brian Williams. It is news, and it's witty. It's precise. He's just, the charm on that man is just off the charts. And maybe he made up a story or two, and I guess I should be offended, but I'm kind of enjoying it because
we do it week after week, and nobody shuns us.
They're personal anecdotes.
We also don't make the money he does, but still, the point is.
But I have to say, a welcome back to the news to him,
Yes.
because I honestly find that 11th Hour to be my favorite part of the whole lineup, and I frequently watch them all. I have them all taped tonight to go home to watch,
I understand.
Because I need to know
watch
what
it.
Rachel has to say, and I honestly need Brian Williams to wrap up my day for me to bring back my sugar plum fairies.
And it's not only with him, because it is so deep in the night, but what their promo says is legitimate. He is getting the headline of tomorrow morning's newspaper handed to him, like right there. Like they're prepping it all. So he's literally, in some cases, breaking stories because they're being fed to MSNBC
and I also enjoy
in the middle of the night.
I also enjoy a smart summary at the end of the day.
Oh.
When we're down to the embers, what is this story really? And sometimes when he gets to that, I really enjoy that.
Well, here we go.
Wow.
Why? What happened? I'm sorry.
Real.
Jenny's girlfriend was born in occupied Nazi Austria during the war. Wow. My sister's mother-in-law is a Nazi. She's a German war bride. She was born in Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
So it's unfair to say that, but so she's now 90 years old this January, and is from that era and married a GI, married a Joe. So
and is probably freaking the fuck out.
Well, as we wrap up our first hour, we go into this. It's our teaser for headlines coming at you just, seconds from now. We're going to read them for you first, then we're going to do them at the top. That's next hour stuff. Here we go. Man gets prison time for taking selfie.
Florida is fucked.
Dan Coulter's still a cunt.
white supremacists who march in Charlottesville. I'm not the angry racist they see in that photo.
Arrest made of man ramming a Bentley and a Rolls Royce.
The sky is falling. The sky is falling.
There's expectation, and then there's reality.
What same-sex couples must know about their finances.
These stories coming at you right after this. It's Q Talk America. Stay with us.
You're listening to Q Talk America.
All right, once again, here we go. It's hour 2. It's the show, Q Talk America. On a Tuesday night, you're with us, show 312. It is the 15th of August, 2017. You're with the entire cast in Studio C. It's Kat Carlson, Marnie Ryer, and Al Perkins rounding out our joyful little group. What's our drinking word this week, Al?
Shatner.
Ooh. I shatnered my pants.
Shatner is our drinking word?
I heard somebody use it as like a swear word the other day.
Shatner. That's funny.
And it made me laugh.
All right, I like it.
I do too. Shatner.
Stub yourself.
Shatnered my pants.
Shatner.
We're on a big kick to not swear at work. It's failing miserably.
You've talked about the fact that you guys need to swear less. I understand that.
We have stress to blow off, people.
It's all. Well, if you joined us in the first hour, you know that headlines are coming at you right now. A Florida man has been sentenced to 6 years and 5 months in prison for accidentally shooting a gun while taking a selfie in a strip club restroom.
Wait, what?
Wait, back up.
I'm going to recap the lead of this story.
Nobody was listening.
Well, because we go right into headlines now. You got to keep
We
up.
like it. We're
Would you
there.
like some coffee, Al? You got to have coffee. What's that?
How did he get coffee?
There
How
is
did he get
no.
coffee?
This is water.
I did not
dirty,
realize.
dirty water.
Didn't know he got it. I'm going to start over with this.
dirty
Dirty bean water.
There's an enabler at the table.
Yeah, it's called-
Shatner.
It's named Al. A Florida man has been sentenced to 6 years and 5 months in prison for accidentally shooting a gun while taking a selfie.
There it is.
In a strip club restroom.
That's the part I missed.
Yeah.
Wasn't doing a selfie. That's completely different. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Tampa announced 34-year-old Rorn. This is an odd name. Rorn Sorn.
Traditional spelling.
European.
R-O-R-N. Sorn. IMA sentencing is on Monday. The Asian Pride gang member pleaded. Wait a minute. The story's getting worse. The Asian Pride gang member pleaded guilty in April to possessing a firearm as a convicted felon. So apparently he'd been down the old legal road before. Court documents say Sorn was at Club Lust in St. Peter. Club Lust.
That's a nice one.
Now, I wonder if it's an Asian club. Is it Club Lust? Is it Club Lust? I'm not sure.
Proud.
So Club Lust, that's in St. Petersburg, by the way.
You gotta roll your
I
eyes.
shattered the story. Club Lust is in St. Petersburg, Florida. He was back in December of last year when the gun discharged. The bullet went through the mirror and into the adjacent women's restroom. No injuries were, however, reported. A security guard approached Sorn as he was leaving the restroom, and Sorn reportedly told him the guard it was an accident and that he was, quote, was just trying to take a selfie. Police responded, and officers found a handgun, ammunition, and drugs on Sorn at the time.
And hopefully a phone?
Now, Sorn has, well, you would assume so. Yeah. I mean, an Etch-a-Sketch. I'm trying to take a picture. Sorn has prior felony convictions for burglary and attempted first-degree murder. Police say a 32... the stories merged together. So anyway, that's it. Sorn. I didn't put in a spacing between my two stories. God damn, I was in a rush.
Oh, I can't wait till you deliver the news. So anyways, that's it.
That's it. And story number one.
Weather. Go to weather.
Shatner, I just shot myself.
It's gonna rain. Go rain. Thanks, Blackie. Cat Carl.
Go rain.
Cat Carl.
Speaking of rain.
Blame it on Lorraine.
Blame it on Lorraine.
That's a great song. Blame it on
Lorraine. Yeah.
I can't stand
It
Lorraine.
really is.
On my window.
Seriously, a joke
What do
in the
you have
7th grade is
against
still
Lorraine?
funny today.
It is still funny.
Okay, speaking of the rain, it really is hard to overstate how screwed Florida is when it comes to climate change. That's right. Something as boring as climate change has made our headlines today. Sea level rise has already ensured that floods are becoming common and not freak weather extremes, and it's guaranteeing that hurricanes and their associated storm surges are just getting worse and worse. Despite all of the science in the world, idiots keep electing idiots to be governors and senators who don't believe all of this.
Right.
As a result, instead of investing in maybe climate change prevention measures or environmental stuff,
Or floaties.
The streets in Miami are literally being raised up off the ground in response to flooding.
Isn't that actually a scene in the latest movie from Al Gore? He's in
I believe
Florida
it.
where they're actually doing construction, raising
To
roads.
raise the roads, not the roof.
Not like
Right.
this. It's like this. It's more
Right.
like this.
Raise the roads.
Raise the roads.
That's what I try to do with my bra.
Different.
How the
Coming.
tin roof gets
No?
rusted.
The rain is a
Shatner.
coming.
Shattered all over it.
Seriously, people, vote.
Are these
Like,
the
seriously.
the fish? Was that
what
the fish?
Huh?
The
What?
fish swimming in the
Oh, in the
road?
city?
Yeah.
No, I
I don't have
that.
anything about that. No, I've abbreviated this story because that was really the punchline right there. The raising
it
of
was
the
good.
roads. Yeah, that
Raise
was.
the roads. Raise the
So,
roads.
and if you
Those are
really want to
flotation
find,
Buoys.
Buoy.
The rest of it is about the research and and it felt like we didn't need to read
was
through
a
all that.
lot.
have you?
Science.
Is it time to interrupt?
Please.
Okay, so I would just like to
Are
add
you awake?
that there's a very
I allow those times.
there's a fascinating story that's all over the news about New Orleans getting so
No.
much rain that they're about to fail as a city. Like,
Wow.
this whole thing about in the future this city will be underwater. We're at the door.
Well, because they're below sea level.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
As of
the
August,
dikes or the levees, not the dikes. No.
women in
levees.
comfortable shoes.
I was almost offended.
Listen, Shatner.
I was almost offended.
So
They on
No,
bikes?
because that was the whole problem with Hurricane Katrina was that the levees failed, the ones that are supposed to keep the
The
ocean
dikes
out.
let them down.
The levees were wet.
it happens.
You know what? I keep looking at those women and going, "This is why nobody likes
That's
you."
right. That's right.
Batteries not
So,
included.
with debris from last weekend's flash flood still piled up on sidewalks and their city under a state of emergency, New Orleans residents looked ahead warily on Friday to the prospect of more rain to tax the city's malfunctioning pump system. They are at full capacity, and so is Lake Pontchartrain,
Pontchartrain, something
Sure.
like that, yeah.
something like that. That they're about to go under, and this
Again.
yeah, but this time it's just heavy rains from a guy who's trying to give a speech about infrastructure today. There's a city that's drowning.
Yeah.
Time to get your infrastructure money. Don't do the press conference. Why not go down there with
I'm
your...
surprised at something
Right.
that you said in that story. You said failing pumps. Why the hell are there pumps failed? Like
Because there's so much water, there's nowhere left to pump it to.
No.
Not necessarily the mechanics of the pumps are failing, but
Oh,
they're
they just
not
aren't
able
working.
to do any good
Okay,
anymore.
got
Yeah,
it.
they're just
Because
not-
I'm thinking after Katrina, didn't they all get new pumps?
No.
No.
Because
No.
we never did anything about the infrastructure, and the walls of Lake Pontchartrain, I think that's how you
That's
say
correct. I believe that's right.
it, have not been fixed. The levees of the lower 9th Ward, or whatever that was, have not been fixed.
No, they couldn't fix those.
We did nothing about anything that happened in Katrina. So when there's a man on TV arguing with people to ask me about infrastructure, you got a city down south that's failing currently. Why not go
Could be
down
your
there?
flagship
First
city.
up, they voted for you in one of the highest voting states for that thing. They don't believe in climate change. They're your people. But go down and fix the walls, fix the
Well,
pumps.
they're too busy trying to shoot
Go
down
help them.
Obamacare.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
Spending all our time and money on efforts on that.
So, I mean,
Drives me insane.
We do have for listeners who've been with us for a while. I do have an update in case you're worried. Climate change is not really going to affect too much. Our goats are up on a mountain; they're on a hill, so I think they're going to be
Oh, that's
above above water. I think they're going to be fine. So, in case you were concerned about the goats,
We won't let them drown.
that was going to be my obsessive story until this all happened, was the fact that New Orleans
is
sending out smoke signals for help, and
Wow.
no one's
And
listening.
nobody cares.
No one cares, including the guy trying to fix that says, ask me questions about infrastructure.
See, because here's the thing.
Ask
Number
him a question
one,
about share.
two things. Number one, he doesn't know shit about anything.
No.
True.
He even in that disaster press conference, I didn't watch it, but I read it. He said, "Yep, we almost got healthcare." What do you mean you almost got healthcare? What does that even mean? Like, that doesn't even mean anything. You're just seeing everything in wins and losses. You didn't almost got nothing. You almost took a lot of shit away from people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it now.
He just strings a lot of words
And then,
together.
is that the guy that voted against healthcare? Is that the guy that voted against? That's what
No,
he
I'm
said
talking about the president.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No. But that was he in the same press conference when asked about what McCain said. He's like, "Is that the guy that voted against healthcare? Is that the guy that kept Americans from having good healthcare?" That was his response.
Because he doesn't
no.
know.
If you haven't, it's one of those things. Get the popcorn. Take, I don't know, 10, 20 of Valium. I recommend this rosé Shatner. That way you'll drink it. Just watch.
Why are you yelling at
watch
me?
That
Because he
shit.
yells.
Watch
Yes,
that
because
shit
he
go
yells.
down.
I can't.
It's the white mug that's making him yell.
Can't. Were you banned from coffee and then you duped
Yeah.
me
He had
into enabling you?
he had a
He did.
self-imposed ban.
Yep. For the whole show. Whole
Then
show.
he enabled himself.
No.
No, I provided the coffee.
Oh
Yes.
God!
I
damn!
was unaware of the
Brought her
ban.
I went with latecomers.
Yep.
She ain't stupid.
When you listen back to the show, you'll realize that you have failed.
But let me tell you.
Honey, that's every episode.
I just meant for that one thing. I just meant specific to that.
Dip this
I do not
in.
want any one of
episodes.
those.
Oh,
I'm
right.
good.
Gummy
Bear
I'm
me.
good.
Gummy
No.
bear
Headline.
I have
Gummy bear
strawberry.
me.
I have strawberry
So-
fig Newtons.
It's Marnie's turn.
Marnie's turn.
Marnie.
So, proving once again that I don't really want to say the Republicans are the most smartest,
smartest.
but the alt-right is the most smartest, proving once again that she's just a cunt and a moron. Oh, you can just put them all down. Thanks. I'll make some choices. But that goddamn Ann
Coulter.
Cunter. That's what I call her. Ann Cunter.
I'll take a red one, please.
So about a year ago, she was on Rob Lowe's
And the orange ones.
comedy roast.
Right.
I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
And she was speaking on she attends that, and she was horrible on that, and it was dissected, completely just awful. Well, this last Saturday, meaning July 30th, I believe it was, or something. She blamed marijuana for destroying the country.
Really?
Yeah, unless
Interesting.
Unless it's synonymous, Trump, marijuana, Trump, Mary Jane, something.
That's really a direction we don't go very often anymore.
Right? So, but she sure does. It's destroying the country, and this is kind of troubling. Making people retarded.
She actually said that.
She actually said that.
Of course she did. Dip it in your coffee. Dip it in your coffee.
Oh, well, she did not say that part. So marijuana is legal in some capacity, whether medicinally or recreationally, in more than half of the U.S., right? Mm-hmm. But according to to Cuntface, legalization of the plant is destroying the country. And what's worse is it makes people the R word. I don't even want to say that word.
No.
That's what the New York Times bestselling author had to say about cannabis while speaking at the nonpartisan political event Politicon on Saturday.
Yeah, that's like Comic-Con.
That's what I thought for politics.
It's like
right?
nerd prom.
Our friends at Pod Save America were also at Politicon
Okay.
and recorded one of their weekly episodes there.
Oh.
Okay.
Another obsession of mine. Like,
Yeah, and anyone
I
who
have a crush on. I'll blow any of them that need me to.
anyone
I
who
want to do a
isn't-
show with John Lovett.
Yeah, I do too.
Shatner.
anyone who isn't familiar with Ann Coulter, are you like under a rock? I just ask.
Yeah.
Anyway, she typically is going to make controversial, awful, not even controversial. They're
No.
just awful statements, just hateful. Anyway, so she got onto this whole, the legality of marijuana, and interesting, no one goes to prison for pot possession. She was talking about like prisons.
Wait.
Yes, they do.
There's a
Yes,
ton.
they do.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. Let's
She
let you
says-
read your story.
No, it's okay because that's how I reacted as well. No one goes to prison for pot possession, and she goes
Except
through
for
this
black
whole
people and poor people.
Exactly right.
It because the person that she was debating had brought
for-profit
up
prisons.
the racial disparities surrounding marijuana charges, which is what you're going for. Pointing out that African Americans are often arrested and sentenced at much higher rates for marijuana use and possession compared with whites committing similar offenses.
Like the coked out couple from Tucson that did a whole bunch of lines and then breastfed their baby, and the baby ended up in the hospital and they got probation.
You
Suspended
poor
sentence.
thing. Right.
Right.
Fuck.
Right.
You gave your baby cocaine.
See, now according to Cunter, allegedly, there's a study that she allegedly read, because I don't think she can read, that claimed black people lie about their marijuana use more than other races. That's a study. Did you know that? There are so many studies about that.
First of all, if my options are lie about it or go to jail, I'm damn sure gonna fucking lie about it.
And lie the other way.
Yeah,
Right.
the white people don't. White people don't. Anyway,
They
so-
don't have to because they don't go to jail for it.
Correct.
As evidenced by Woody Harrelson
Oh.
and Matthew McConaughey at the Emmy Awards bragging about
Right.
smoking the pot
Right. So
to an imprisoned nation.
she says, now you're gonna appreciate this. Anyone who's high, perhaps listening. As for possession, arrests, and sentences, Coulter advanced her claim that no one actually serves time for possessing marijuana. No, I know you're all potheads, and you're gonna have trouble following what I'm about to say, but almost 90% of people in prison are in prison as a result of a plea bargain. No one gets arrested and tried for possession of marijuana. But if they happen to have marijuana on them, that's what they plead down to. But you're not going to prison for that. You're going to prison because you held up a liquor store with a sawed-off shotgun and they found pot on you.
Yeah, they're called the Rockefeller laws in New York. Look them up, cunt. You know how that part in a movie where the villain, regardless of sex, finally gets their comeuppance and somebody with a shovel just whacks him in the head and kills him and the whole audience cheers? Yeah, I just want to leave you with that visual of Ann Coulter.
God, wouldn't that be nice?
I'm not
Wouldn't it be
suggesting
nice?
anything.
No?
I'm just
No.
being reminded of the
But
villain.
If someone were to do
Careful
that,
with the hate speech there,
yeah.
friend.
Right, see?
No, I don't.
I'm
I
not
don't want
conflating them in
anyone-
any way.
A movie reference for
Yeah.
all I know.
I would hate to see anyone get hurt. But when asked if marijuana should be made legal in the states, Coulter, who obviously disapproved, tried to connect the herbal substance to mental disabilities, which she then seemed to link to immigrants who work as busboys in restaurants. No, she said.
There's some really cute people with mental illness then, because I've seen those
Apparently,
busboys.
right. And they're all high as fuck.
Yes.
So no, she
I
says
like them more now.
you can legalize all the drugs you want.
Cute and packing.
Once
What more did I
there
need?
isn't a welfare state. But no, she said, marijuana makes people retarded, especially when they're young. We've got enough busboys. We're bringing in the busboys by the million through our immigration policy.
Apparently there's not enough because
We do not need a country of busboys. We're destroying
First of all,
our
there's a-
country.
I don't know. Mar-a-Lago just tried to hire
That's
about 300
exactly
of
what
them.
I was going to say.
Well, they're
Remember
all
at the end of
stoned.
Die Hard where Alan Rickman is falling off a building and flailing?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, not that these two things are related, but wasn't that your favorite part of that movie?
It sure was. I wish
Entertainment
that-
is later.
I wish that Alan Rickman had really long blonde hair.
Remember when the bad
Yeah.
guy, the bat guy,
Mm-hmm.
he's called the Batman asshole.
Does she not just prove that she should have been named Ann Coulter? Not
Oh,
Ann
yeah.
Coulter. I mean, it just
And
flows
the fact
out of her
that-
mouth.
And the fact that she's still second on my list after that blonde.
For real.
Gross
Tommy Lahren.
Tommy Lahren is just
I don't
too-
want to
she's
say
too
her
much.
name. It gives her
She's
too much power. But that
Yeah.
And also for those of you who might remember, the busboys were a group way.
Okay.
The bus. They were a great group in the 80s.
They sound
okay.
stoned.
The
So they look like they do.
They
They're
sound
singing this shit and they're
stoned.
packing.
Yeah,
I am
we're
good.
Yeah.
I'll take 20 more of them and 20 less of the rich white
Yes.
boys marching around a
They're-
flat.
And also, I didn't know if anybody had
They're
seen
stoned.
if anybody had seen this because we're talking about drugs and the effects, and
Like
sometimes
to Shatner the fuck out of her.
it's bad. Sometimes it's bad. Drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad.
Drugs bad. Sometimes
Drugs and
I don't know if
alcohol
anybody
and
had seen
tobacco.
this. This is a progression of what meth. And for those of you who don't know, Ann Coulter's in the middle that Marnie was talking about.
I'm gonna Shatner that one right.
Tommy
That
Lahren
is
and
Oh my
Coulter.
God.
This is the 3 stages of
The Three Stooges?
of crystal meth addiction. You start out looking like the one on the left.
God.
Tommy Lahren. Read it out loud for our listeners.
Yeah.
Tommy Lahren, Ann Coulter, and Kellyanne from left to right. They all 3 look like the same person at various stages of crystal meth addiction.
I
approve.
gotta ring a bell. Where's the bells
I
of
don't.
innuendo? Are they still available? I just
Sure.
I want that meme on my page of the faces.
Yep.
We can get
Immediately.
that.
That should be a cover photo.
We can get that.
That's
God damn, that's funny.
that just wins.
Thank you for that.
Thank
That
you and
was
good night.
awesome.
You're welcome.
You just Shatnered the show.
Yes,
It's
indeed.
an awfully
There you
early
have it.
Shatner.
Yeah, well, yeah, I just Shatnered that.
So while you people are smoking your marijuana, I just want you to know that you're ruining the country. Thanks.
Oh, I'm good with that.
Thank
You're welcome.
you.
If that
God.
is what's ruining the country, I'll gladly take that over anything else that carries tiki
Fair
torches
point. Fair point.
to a wedding or wherever the hell they were going. The non.
I feel bad for everybody that threw a luau this week. though.
I know.
Do you want to hear?
God.
Do you want to hear a story? You want to hear a story?
About
Tell you a
Charlie's and their
story.
tiki,
Fucking
tiki party?
local bar here in town.
I already heard about it.
Charlie's, which you've heard me say talked about a million times. Every weekend during the summer to keep things lively and fun, whatever they do, different events, right? They have like superhero parties. They do all kinds of different costumes and different things. Well, this past weekend, coincidentally, was their like jungle Rastafarian tiki torch party.
Sponsored by Malibu.
So, okay, Malibu rum. So they had their outside patio all done lighting and fake palm trees and all this bullshit with tiki torches.
Oh, no.
And what fucking happened this weekend? A bunch of crazy white people went nuts with tiki torches.
Yep.
And Ruben Contreras, my favorite comment was, bad weekend to have a tiki party.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Oh, wow.
News and comments from Al Perkins, boys and girls.
Yeah.
So, speaking of tiki torches, the white supremacists who marched in Charlottesville, quote, "I'm not the angry racist they see in the photo." So, Peter Svetanovich.
Sure.
Sure.
Yep.
The 20-year-old college student pictured here. Do we have his picture?
Well, I have it with those memes, but I don't have it solo.
All right, so we'll go to his memes afterwards. We'll go to a light touch afterwards.
Do you have a specific sequence which these go, or do we care?
No.
All right.
This is a true story. This
No,
part's not a fake.
No, I understand that,
But then we're going to enjoy some memes.
we'll see some
with
pictures
this
of
picture.
him. Right.
Funny.
Participated in the white nationalist rally that led to 3 deaths, and he has a message for observers.
Oh.
Do tell us the message.
I did not expect the photo to be shared as much as it was. He told Channel 2 News in Nevada, "I understand the photo has a very negative connotation, but I hope the people sharing the photo are willing to listen that I'm not the angry racist they see in the photo. This is not fake."
Then why did you show up to the Nazi
Yeah.
rally and hold a torch?
The rally that he took part in, called the Unite the Right, was organized to protest the planned removal of a Confederate statue in Charlottesville honoring General Robert E. Lee. Aside from the racist connotation, it's a great name to be named Robert E. Lee. Like, I think it's a great name. You know what I mean? Except for the racism
I
part.
mean, except for all the slavery.
Rolls
and
off the tongue, yeah.
yeah.
The gathering included members of multiple far-right extremist groups like the KKK and self-described fascist group Vanguard America. Several marchers, and more than several, shouted Nazi slogans and carried Confederate flags, as well as a signs with Nazi imagery. And they were screaming "blood and soil," which comes directly from Mein Kampf. Peter said he attended the march for the message that white European culture has a right to be here just like every other culture, and he believed the removal of Lee's statue symbolized the slow replacement of white heritage.
This is the individual in the
US.
white shirt that Al is talking
That's
about.
the picture that's going everywhere.
Yeah, the next picture makes me laugh.
Yeah.
The one I sent to Clayton, he looks crazy as fuck.
Yeah, because he is. The University of Nevada Reno student then referenced the 14 words, one of the most famous white supremacist slogans: "We all deserve a future for our children and for our culture."
Wasn't that Whitney Houston?
Yeah.
No, she believes the children were the future.
White nationalists
my bad,
aren't
my
all
bad.
hateful.
What
We
are they
just
now?
want to preserve what we
Shatner.
have. Now, the important thing to remember is today, during the absolute
That's not him,
meltdown of a press conference that went on, as the Orange Dumpster Fire literally said, and I quote, "They were coming for us." And he said "for us" in his
Okay.
quote. Go back. You have to watch that press conference, because some people are deleting that sentence or saying that it was
Yeah.
Taken out of context?
no, not taken out of
No, no,
context.
no,
They said it was indistinguishable.
Crosstalk, yeah, indistinguishable.
Indistinguishable. They couldn't hear him say they were coming for us. And later he said they are trying to change our history and our culture. Like, he just read right off the Nazi program.
Right.
No, you can say they're trying to change history. There's a stupid argument to be made there, but you can say that maybe in a museum these statues would have a place. But when
Okay.
you start saying they're trying to change our culture, you're just reading from the playbook of the white supremacists. And the Orange Dumpster Fire just went full tilt for it. And it was one of those things where you're like, huh? And then he was like, those other people, the white supremacists had a permit. They had a permit.
That justifies it.
No,
All
but
right.
you got to hear him say permit. That's what I said. That this is not one of those things that you can read. You have to watch him melt down and talk about, did you know they had a permit?
But I
he
don't
actually
wanna.
says to Jake Tapper, did you know they had a permit?
Oh,
That
wow.
that makes burning torches outside a church.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that
justified?
wasn't what your permit went for. Your permit was to be around that statue. The part where you surrounded the church, that wasn't part of it. Oh my God. So, I mean, I'm just amazed at this douchebag and the entitlement of that fucker.
This is the other
Honestly,
picture Marnie was talking about.
Yeah. This tool
It's
actually
crazy.
being like, no, I just want white culture. And then I said some things about shipping black people back to Africa. So now go to his memes. So this is all over the internet today, and it is funny.
I'm
so
loving
we
his
gotta
memes,
We
yeah.
gotta lighten this up. So we have him first,
Same picture.
same picture, shouting at the host at a restaurant. What do you mean there's no patio seating? I have to eat inside like some fucking idiot. About getting brunch.
Here he is at Disneyland.
105 minutes with a fucking car's ride, but I already used all my flash passes. That's what they're called at
Peter at Disneyland.
Peter at Disneyland. But I was only inside for 10 fucking minutes getting a parking ticket.
Parking ticket.
Okay, I see what we're doing now. I got it, yeah.
Yeah.
The name is spelled CVJETANOVICS. Is it that so fucking hard?
Peter, that's Starbucks.
Traditional
That
spelling.
was my absolute.
Wait, that one is? I thought this one would be your favorite.
What do you mean Bette Midler isn't in tonight's performance?
Peter, taking in some theater.
And this one is fantastic.
What do you mean guacamole is extra?
Peter, after the rally.
At Chipotle.
At Chipotle. And I like that they made him a midget in that one.
Yeah.
So really
With my apologies to the midgets.
To the-
or whatever we're supposed to
The
call them
Lollipop
now.
Guild.
I love the
Lollipop Guild.
age-old Photoshop this
Yeah.
hilariously
Yeah.
tradition of the internet.
So not only is he being lambasted all across the country for the legitimate photo and being fired from every conceivable. Did you say the family has completely disavowed him?
So is this the same guy? Because I thought that was two different guys. The one that the family was like,
probably
no,
more than-
he's out.
You know
Probably
what?
more than
That's
one.
what that picture that I sent, and that's what I said to you. I said it's a different guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
my
Okay.
apologies.
Another guy in
Yeah.
a lot of the angry pictures,
Yeah.
his nephew and his father both disavowed
The
him.
father of a man identified as a participant in the rally denounced his son's vile, hateful, and racist rhetoric and actions. His name is Pierce Teft. He says, "My name is Pierce Teft, and I'm writing to all with regards to my youngest son." It should be with regard, but whatever. With my youngest son, Peter Teft, an avowed white nationalist who has been featured in a number of local news stories over the last several months. He wrote in a letter to a North Dakota, Minnesota news site.
yeah.
So Teft's father said his son, quote, did not learn white nationalist rhetoric at home, but attended the rally in Charlottesville where he was interviewed while marching with these white nationalists. "We have been silent up until now." This I thought was brilliant. "We've been silent up until now, but now we see that this was a mistake. It was the silence of good people that allowed the Nazis to flourish the first time around, and it is the silence of good people that is allowing them to flourish now. Peter Teft, my son, is not welcome at our family gatherings any longer. His hateful opinions are bringing hateful rhetoric to his siblings, cousins, nieces, and nephews, as well as his parents." Yeah, it just...
Yeah, and doing the internet's good work and helping in this quest to identify all these people is the Twitter account. Yes, you're racist.
Yes, I've been watching that
because they've been. I started following them earlier this weekend, and they've been as they can finding these people, finding their social profiles, and posting them out there.
And it doesn't take long because I went to the one today who's lost his job, and I went to his profile. No, he did an interview. He was the one that did the He did an interview somewhere today, and just kind of was like just an ass hat. He wasn't the guy that they interviewed later, who was like, "Oh, she deserved to die," and somebody was knocking on his car, and all good people can do is hit the gas. That guy, no.
Oh.
Okay, so but there is this guy Andrew Auernheimer, Auernheimer, known as Weave. He's recruiting like-minded people to turn into the Westboro Baptist Church to start picketing the young woman who was murdered funeral.
Oh,
of course he is.
Okay.
So that's what the Trump supporters friends are doing today.
Wow.
So in case you're wondering, they're looking for like-minded people to help them protest that young woman's funeral.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's some nasty rotten shit going on.
Did you talk about Cole White? Is that one of the names that you brought up, Marnie? Cole White. Apparently he's another one that no longer has a job. The Yes You're Racist Twitter feed posted an update a little bit earlier saying, "Update, Cole White, the first person I exposed, no longer has a job." Apparently they got an information. They got a message back. Says, Thank you for bringing to our attention. We apologize for the delayed response. However, we have been inundated with inquiries regarding the incident involving one of our employees that attended the rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. We will be releasing a statement on our website tomorrow. For now, we feel that it's imperative to let you know that Cole White is no longer employed by Top Dog LLC.
Wow.
So they are all getting out
Good.
there and.
I don't know who Top Dog
Shatner.
LLC are, but
Well, I'm sure
I
you
want
could
to,
probably
I want to give
Google
them
them.
money.
And there's
I
like
think
two,
it's
and the list keeps going on. The list of things that are increasing are the people that this Twitter page is finding, and the list of CEOs leaving the Trump administration are kind of going at the same pace.
Oh yeah,
Coincidence?
they
Yeah.
are
I don't think so.
the exodus of those little CEOs, the CEOs from his whatever fucking advisory, whatever he was doing, corporate advisory, whatever
Yeah.
that was. Yeah, they are just like out of here.
Yeah, and they took some slack for getting on that board, and they all poo-pooed
Right.
it. I think the guy from Uber left almost immediately because there became that whole like get off of Uber and go to your direct competitor. I mean, don't be Pepsi and piss off people when there's Coke available.
Right.
Uber and Lyft went through that, and Uber got off the board. So now like people are like, hands up, don't shoot. You got to
Right.
get me out of this shit
Yeah.
show.
Right.
Well, and Uber's had enough trouble this year.
Right, their
trying-
CEO was enough
trying
of
to
a
clean their
shit
But
show.
that's
for
what I
them.
mean. But he got
He
out like
Shatnered all over.
yeah,
them.
he did Shatner. Oh, we haven't drank in a minute.
Well, they Shatnered the one CEO away entirely
Right.
and
Sure.
said,
Yeah.
"Don't come home."
Yes.
Oh,
All right,
whose
moving
story
on.
is that?
Pull
Yeah.
That's Clayton
mine.
McKee.
It's for me. Me. Hands
Clayton
up.
McKee. Really?
Police say a 32-year-old man has been arrested after he allegedly rammed his car into not one, but two luxury vehicles at a Washington car dealership, causing more than $500,000 in damage. Police say officers responded to Bellevue Bentley on Sunday night and detained the man from Seattle. By the way, this is Seattle, Washington, not D.C. Police say they found a Bentley and a Rolls-Royce significantly damaged. The dealership owner said the estimated value of both cars was well over $500,000. Two witnesses told police that they saw the driver of a Honda ram the unoccupied parked cars multiple times. Police say the suspect told officers he had not slept in about 3 days and that he may have had a panic attack while driving. The dealership owner told the police that the cars would really be a total loss at this point. The suspect was arrested for malicious mischief.
Our favorite.
Malicious.
Good stuff.
Now, my question is, you've been awake for 3 days, sir. I have a feeling that there is a meth problem.
No, I mean,
Oh,
it could,
I can
no,
be
again,
awake
I
for
have,
3 days.
Yeah, my record is 5
Yeah.
with the insomnia.
Yep.
Seriously, how do
Absolutely.
you? I don't know how you.
You
function.
don't.
You
That-
don't
the
function.
answer to
I mean,
whatever
right,
your
the
question
end of that
is
is you don't function.
You don't
Yeah,
function.
you get to a point where it's so fucking dangerous to like be.
Yeah.
I think my
outside
top
here.
is 4 days.
That-
How do? What do you? I mean, I have nights I can't sleep. I get that, but I don't have that affliction. How do you?
You don't.
You start. That's where you start seeking medical advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, what can I do to
And
sleep?
and
What, do you just
honestly,
get stoned and pass out?
Huh?
Do you just get stoned and pass out?
If
start
there's a God in heaven,
hallucinating
that'll
and-
happen.
I mean, but does that work for you?
It has proven more effective than other things. But I have stayed awake through Ambien, Restoril, Benadryl, melatonin. Up
This
to 12
show.
milligrams. Yeah. I have stayed awake on just about everything you can give. Lunestra. I've taken every sleeping pill imaginable and just stared
wow.
a TV down. So
There's that.
it really is.
Yeah, like you can just be looking at the TV and you're a zombie.
Yeah.
You're just
and
like,
then you just have to get showered and dressed and go to work and
Yeah.
just coffee your way through it.
Well, and in my experience, like the exhaustion kind of comes in waves. Like you catch a second wind,
Yeah.
and then a fourth,
And
then
sometimes
a
you're on, like, your
28th, and a
75th
35th,
wind,
right?
yeah.
But it ups and downs, and you crash really hard and are
Yeah, when
like,
you're done, you're
really
done.
comatose.
So when doctors ask me, "Have you tried this?" Fuck you.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
50. Yeah, I think I might have tried a
Tried
thing or
everything.
two. Yeah.
I'm fit.
Yep.
I'm 50. Damn it.
I can kick and I can stretch.
And kick again.
Hi, Annette. Hi,
Hello,
Harry.
Annette.
That's a good time. Good morning, Annette.
Our next story comes from Kat Carlson.
Oh my gosh, Kat Carlson.
Kat
Well,
Carlson. She gave me coffee. She's a good friend.
Poor
Al Perkins,
Shatner.
you're right here. I'm gonna need you to be here.
Almost
right.
everyone does.
Yeah,
It is almost solar eclipse time.
Oh, woo!
Don't look directly at it.
Right, don't look directly at it. But on Monday, what is that, August 21st, all of North America will be treated to an eclipse of the sun,
A total eclipse of the sun?
of the heart.
Oh, very
Turn
good.
around, bright eyes.
Turn around every now and then. Anyone in the path of totality can see one of the most awe-inspiring sights, but if you're not, which runs kind of towards through the center of our country, the path of totality, like they've been booked up in Utah for months because it'll run right through there and it'll paint a swath.
Now,
right
I
on
have not
through.
heard of this path of totality, but I was under the impression that Buffalo was going to be in that, and they're not too middle-ish.
So no, Buffalo's too far north for a total eclipse. Looking at the map, it runs about from South Carolina. If you drew a line from South Carolina
get you a picture.
up to about Seattle,
Okay.
Where the fuck is
there's
NorCal?
your path of totality.
Oh, so it's not like a straight line; it's more of an arc. Because South Carolina
the
to
world is
Seattle,
round, right? It's
yeah.
diagonal.
The world is not round.
The world is round, people. The world is round.
Now we're just changing culture.
All right. So who can see it? Lots of people. Everyone in the contiguous United States, in fact, everyone in North America, plus parts of South America, will be able to see at least a partial solar eclipse, while the thin path of totality will pass through portions of 14 states.
Al, I'm bringing up a map for you.
What is it? Of course, we should all know because we took 7th grade science.
Don't look directly at it.
Well, there's that.
There you are.
We're going to get to tips.
Yeah. Annette has
See?
experienced
South
the total
Carolina,
solar
on up to-
eclipse.
On up to Seattle. So, what a solar eclipse is, if you don't know, is that's the rare occasion when the moon comes directly between the sun and the earth.
Okay.
All right. So it doesn't usually happen during like the daytime hours, even, you know what I mean? Like a solar eclipse is fairly rare.
79,
It's just the math.
wasn't it?
The math.
1979.
That feels about right. No, I think there was one in the
89?
80s. I think there was one in the 80s.
I
Did somebody Google?
I will. I'll Google it because I have nothing
There you
else
go.
over here.
Tell me when the last one was. But what I do have are some tips for people. If you've never seen a total eclipse, you may not know what to expect or what to look for as the world grows dark. So I've got a couple of tips here. Tip number 1, and this is for people people outside the path of totality can see this. During a partial eclipse, the face of the moon will appear to take a bite out of the sun, and you can see this safely by either putting on the safety glasses.
Yeah.
I
bought
bought
some.
by
I bought
Amazon.
some. Yep.
Or you can also see this moon shadow in the shadows. And one way to do this is to turn your back to the sun. This article says make a pound sign with your fingers. That's a hashtag, people. Right. Make a hashtag with your people, and then look at your shadow. And what you'll see is a crescent of the moon in that shadow.
In the shadow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How cool is that? It says
Isn't
this.
there one other way?
Well, stand by. I got like 6
All right,
things on
all
my
right,
list.
all right. I just thought you were
Settle
all done.
down, sister.
Just
Settle
one
down. This is
'Cause
just.
I remember.
This is just the moon thing.
Yeah.
The sunlight passing through the small spaces between your fingers will create a repeated pattern of crescent shapes on the ground.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Number 2, if you are in the path, you will actually be able to see the moon's shadow speeding towards you. So if you're someone who's lucky enough to live in the path, watch for this as you're watching it happen, because you will be able to see the moon's shadow coming across the landscape at 1,600 miles an hour.
Can you take pictures
I
of
know. Isn't that awesome?
Fucking cool is that?
Yeah,
Can you take pictures
You can
of
take
it?
pictures. Well, because you're going to be looking at the horizon,
Okay.
as it were. You're not going to be looking up at the sun to see the moon shadow, so
Right.
you're not in danger of burning your eyes out of your
Right.
socket.
Not yet.
Because you'll literally be watching like something out of a movie where you see the darkness kind of creeping across the landscape
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
before it gets to you. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? And there's all kinds of YouTube videos. If you're not going to get to see it yourself, there's all kinds of YouTube videos of all of these things. Number 3, watch for something called shadow bands. In seconds before totality, you will see thin striations, whatever,
Striation.
of light
European.
and shadow move across the ground, even over your feet. They're known as shadow bands. They kind of look like, from the videos that I was looking at, they kind of look like heat waves. You know how you see the heat waves coming up off the ground? They kind of look like that, but like crazy little wiggly lights coming across the ground.
Wiggly lights.
Wiggly
the
lights.
wiggly lights.
I know, it's very exciting.
Got some wiggly lights.
Now, do we
Yes.
have the correct time in Arizona that this will occur?
9 something in the morning. I
Yeah,
think.
it's mid-morning at some point.
Okay, so I can stay
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think I work Sunday, Monday, so
Oh, fun.
I can
Yeah.
stay up.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
check
gonna look
it out.
directly at it.
Good.
But
I
the
think
thing
you
is,
should.
21.
remember the pinhole
You're 50,
camera?
you do
Yeah,
what you want.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping that she'll get to.
The pinhole.
No, you
camera.
know, I don't have anything about the pinhole camera. These are
Right?
these are
Remember
things that
it was
people
like you could make it like it was a
Yep.
like a cardboard
like a box with a hole. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. We always had to make them in school.
According to
I remember that.
our dear friends at the Wikipedia,
Let's.
Yep.
visible total eclipses from the North
heart.
American continent.
Continent.
You've had June of 54, October 59, July 63. You had one in 70, 72, 79,
That's the one I remember.
90, 91. Then you go up to this one in 2017. You're going to have obviously. So the last one we had, it looks like was in 90. Was in 91. Was the last total.
The one in 79 was cloudy because it was
Or where you were.
Yeah, it was cloudy where I was, so we missed it, but it did go dark. You did, like Annette said, you did have the darkness, but you couldn't see it actually happen.
Right.
And the one in
And I feel like I should remember the 90s.
The one in 63 is the whole premise of Stephen King's Gerald's Game, and Dolores Claiborne. The thing that puts those two stories together is the total eclipse of the sun.
Very cool.
So I knew about that one because that is the moment where Dolores Claiborne sees the little girl from Gerald's Game.
Wow.
I know, my nipples get
Very
hard
cool.
just the thought of it.
Very cool. Well, my list is not necessarily like the traditional information. These are things to like look out for that are aside of and like peripheral.
Sure.
So that like the moon shadow is the coolest freaking thing.
Yeah, that sounds really cool because I don't remember that.
Number 4 on the list is a 360-degree sunset. So if you're standing fairly close to the middle of the path, you should be able to see that orange sunset-y glow all the way around.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I know, which is cool.
Jenny suggests virgins be sacrificed somewhere.
We can
I
find
mean,
one.
I don't think I know any.
Yeah.
Starts at 9:13 a.m. on the 21st, Arizona time.
Perfect.
The peak is at 10:33.
That's getting a little late.
So you got some time to watch the whole thing happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're pretty partial. Like, we're pretty, like 50%? Where are we in that path?
I'd say so. Based on what
I feel like it went really north.
Yeah, it does go really north.
Well, again, if you look at the map of destruction or whatever you call this thing, I mean, it's way up there.
Yeah,
the
but
North Korea path of nuclear weapons.
So wait, is that going through? What? That's too fucking far away.
So here, get this map off of
through?
NASA.
Well, is it going to be better than this map?
Of course it is.
Why?
Because it's
middle?
gonna tell me that Arizona's gonna see about 75% of the eclipse.
Well, send me the map.
I'm sending
Lord
it right
have
now.
mercy.
There's a link.
There's so much
Go
going
find it.
on.
Go find it.
Jenny, you and me both.
I'm going back to my
You
list.
and me both.
Go back.
Going back to my list. List number 5. Look for Bailey's beads. It's not a sex thing. Not a sex thing.
Wow.
Just before
Is that
totality.
a drink?
Just for those of you that made the pinhole camera and are able to look at the total eclipse, just before totality, you will see flashes of light across the circumference of the moon. These are known as Bailey's beads. Here's why it happens. Because the moon is not a perfect sphere, and so what you're seeing is the light peek out through the mountains and valleys.
Okay.
So you're seeing
How
little bits of
fucking
light.
cool
Isn't
is
that
it?
freaking cool?
Right.
Why do people deny science? It's so fucking cool.
In the final seconds before totality, sunlight passes
real.
through the canyons, causing a twinkling light to appear along the edges of the blackened disk of moon.
I'm sorry, but if you compare that Noah's Ark bullshit to the Barbara's beads thing she's talking about,
Well,
So, are
I
you
got a
Cat? Are you talking about this?
It
Yes.
was Noah.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah.
That's
I
fine.
like that right in the
That's
middle.
not Al in the center. That's a globe.
so
He does
So
like
it
green
looks
and
to me
blue,
that
though.
Arizona's going to get about
75 to
75%.
90. Yeah, we're in
Yeah.
a good place.
We're in a good spot.
Oh, I have more
I feel like that goes right
and
across
really,
75.
most of the country is going to see a whole lot of this.
fucking
a whole
lot
fuck
of
ton
it.
of
So
eclipsing.
with the
ton of
map that
eclipsing.
you had, Clayton, is
No.
that like right
That
under?
is so
it
that is
through
so
Kansas?
fucking fancy.
Was it through Kansas?
Yeah, went across there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then you got this. This
Oh, Harrison
explains more.
says LA is 62% coverage.
There's this one, Cat.
Yeah.
Show that one.
That looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
math.
See, that's
What's
what I was
happening?
explaining about the moon being in between the Earth and the Sun.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
And how the eclipsing works.
There's that.
Back to the things to notice.
Back to the
Back to the middle.
Marnie, according to this, it barely touches Kansas. Goes right through Missouri, though.
Okay.
Number 7 says, notice the changes in your environment. A lot happens when the moon gets between the Earth and the Sun. The temperature will drop. Notice how that feels. Animals will start to act really squirrely. Keep an eye on your dogs.
Oh,
All right, that's what
Keep
that's
an
what
eye on your
Annette
dogs.
offered.
Have the crickets started chirping? Have they stopped chirping? Have the bats come out?
Will I be able to play piano?
What the fuck are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Did you play piano before?
No, but still.
Time.
What?
What?
What the fuck do you mean the
'Cause they
bats
think
have
it's
the
night.
bats come out?
Yeah, they
Because it's going to be dark, so animals that rely on like daytime, nighttime for their activity,
Ah, fuck, I'm gonna
they're
be inside.
circadian rhythms.
right?
Oh,
Right.
those goddamn
Yeah.
cicadas.
Yes, the cicadas.
If
John
you happen to
Cicada.
be near a plant with a
Neil
flower
Sedaka?
that opens up during the day, you might look to see if it started to fold up. Crazy
that's
shit
kinda
happens.
wild.
I know.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool shit to
You
look
know
at?
the flowers
Hibiscus?
in my front lawn
Yeah.
that no one knows what they are?
Yeah.
But every morning they bloom with the sun. The cool part about them is you can't kill them no matter what I do.
Handy.
They're these purple. It's this purple leafed thing, and then once it gets warm enough, every morning when the sun comes up, it flowers anew.
Oh,
Fancy. I don't
And
have to
it's
drive by your house.
truly
Anew.
lovely.
huh.
I like it. Number 8 is kind of a cool one, and it suggests that you look at other people. If you're watching, in a public space, take a second, take your eyes off the sun for a second, and kind of like just notice the awe that everyone else is feeling too.
Oh,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
That's
Especially if
smart.
you're a natural people watcher, like
Yeah.
it might be a really cool perspective to kind of like stop and turn around and look at all the people behind you that are looking at the same thing and kind of see how they're slack-jawed and drooling at the sky too.
May I
I'd like
recommend
to
that
take the
same
photos
thing?
of
Yeah.
that then.
May I recommend doing that during fireworks
Yeah.
and other things that are exciting? Just look at somebody else enjoying what you're doing. Like it's kind of fun to see that. Oh, that must be what I look like if I let myself go into the moment. Like it's kind of fun to be like, ooh.
I do that a lot when I take my kids to the theater.
Yeah, I do that.
I spend the whole time watching them
I
watch
didn't want
the
to
thing.
totally nerd out on you, but that's what I do it too. Sometimes I look around to watch, especially if it's a show I've seen before.
Right.
Like Turn It Off during the Book of Mormon. I
Yeah.
want to see someone else's face when that
Oh, when they
clap
bust
on,
into
clap
tap?
on. Yeah, when that happens.
Yeah.
You just want to see someone else's face and be like, "Did you buy into musical theater?" And there'll be someone that's like, "I hate musical theater." That is just in
Yeah,
pure rapture of happiness. I'm like, "What is that?" And then a minute
Because the
later,
lights
I hate
turned back
musical
on
theater.
and they were
Yeah.
tapping and they were in
Yeah.
all sequins. That's wonderful. This is the last tip because I can see you're about to break in. This is the very last tip.
Hold on, I'm gonna add to your story as soon as you go. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Very last tip for this
Just the tip.
Just the tip is to put the camera down.
Yes.
An eclipse is really hard to photograph. So
Right.
unless you're
Someone's already done it.
unless you're a professional photographer or that's kind of your passion is, photographing sun and moon and stars, put your cell phone camera down. There are plenty of pictures on the internet. Like actually experience this
Right.
because it's a rare natural phenomenon and your cell phone's not going to do shit
Now,
for
if
it.
you would like to play
Shatner.
along, I don't know if you had heard of this story,
all yours.
but there is NASA is actually crowdsourcing information. If you would like to play along with this, you can, and I don't know where the link is. I just heard about this on the news today. And Aaron, actually, I bet if Aaron from LA is still on the website, I bet he'll know about this. NASA is looking for people to send them information. What's happening where you are?
Sure.
What's it look like? How dark did it get? What do the surroundings look like?
What did the bats do?
What's the air temperature? What do they? No,
damn
they
the
want to know
bats.
all
Yes.
of that information so that they can
Absolutely.
gather from again the entire spectrum of the country what happened, how did this actually affect it. So if you want to, I'm sure there's a link on NASA's website, or if you Google NASA crowdsourcing information for the eclipse, I'm sure you can find it. But it's their way of being like, we got all these fucking people out there are going to be little mini scientists for us.
Absolutely.
We
Well,
can
and everybody's
gather-
geeking out about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so if you are geeking out about it and happen to write down the temperature, that's a great tip.
What I wanted to interject because you were
Please.
explaining
Yes.
so many different things about how it got
Many.
darker and different things. Well, this is an illustration that I've always thought was a great example of the difference between nighttime and daytime. I always thought this was good. So you got nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime. Oh my god! Nighttime,
That's so cute.
daytime. So there you go. So I want to make sure everybody understood. This is really how you can experience it without
Again, I love science. Look, I mean, look how easy that was to
daytime.
explain.
I know.
Nighttime. Daytime. There you go. Nighttime.
So and Jenny, I had heard the same thing. Jenny says that she heard
Yeah,
that
they were being
counterfeit.
sold on Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon is refunding your money,
Right.
and they are putting warnings
Oh.
out everywhere.
Aaron from LA put a link in the chat room. I'm assuming that is the correct link to get you to the information I was just talking about. So,
And Harrison says that there's an app, so look for that in,
very
your,
good.
in your app store.
so
Yeah.
many
I
people
love
are
it.
now
I love
involved
it.
in this. You're
Yep.
welcome.
But yeah, so there's a lot of tips of things to look at if you did buy
very
counterfeit
fun.
glasses and are afraid of blinding yourself.
Yeah.
There are lots of ways to experience the
My
eclipse.
heaven's sakes.
There's my story.
That's your
it.
story.
Shatner.
Back to Marnie Rubble. I almost said Marnie Rubble. Where the hell is that?
Okay, I'm not gonna
With
lie.
the courtesy of Fred's 2 feet.
I'm not gonna lie. That's new.
Wait, I thought we had the Jetsons, not the Flintstones
We do.
theme song.
It's all Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, it is all Hanna-Barbera. That's right.
Wow.
No, it is the Jetsons, but no. Marnie Rubble, ladies and gentlemen.
That's great. Oh my god. It's from hell.
At least I can call you Bam Bam, for Christ's sake.
Bam, 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 bam. So
I'm
on
gonna
a
date him.
different note,
On a different note, like a bad one.
there was a comedian. Not was, is. There's a comedian that is recreating celebrity bikini Instagrams. the way that they'd look if a real person did them. And it has become one of my new favorite little pastimes, just to laugh at.
Is
this
there a midget in a
person.
bikini about to show us?
They are, if you were able to get it, right, Clayton?
I am. Stand by.
So, this,
read the story that we're going to go through.
There's an
I hope it's a midget.
Australian Instagram comedian Celeste Barber has been cracking us up with her celebrity picture recreations for years. So the idea is simple. She just chooses a celebrity photo and shows how it would look if a regular human tried it. This summer, she's been doing a lot of bikini shots, and she's knocking it out of the park. She honest to God, it's hysterical. Do you have it now?
Hang
or
on.
no? Okay.
I want to make sure. I do a lot of copying and cutting to
Nope,
make
that's
this happen.
okay. So what she like people like Kendall Jenner or Kate Upton. I'm gonna mispronounce this. You may know Emily Ratajkowski.
Sure.
No.
Sure.
Based on your other
Sure.
two, it's going to be a reality star.
European?
Based on the other two people you
Bethany Frankel.
Yeah, I think we sense a theme.
Lady Gaga.
Oh, there you go. There's a celebrity.
Kelly Osbourne.
Wow, we Shatnered her pretty quick.
Yes.
Whoever Gigi Gorgeous is, like I'll have to figure that shit out. But Black
not.
China,
Yeah.
Rihanna, Kendall Jenner again, lots of the Nicki Minaj, Kylie Jenner, because there's
I come and go on the Riri, but her in a bikini, I'm gonna watch.
which
you know what I
one?
mean?
Rihanna.
Yeah.
Rihanna. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm pretty solid in the fan column.
No, because I still can't
can't
forgive her for Umbrella. Ella.
Ella.
I hate that fucking
In
song.
fairness, I
Second worst song ever
I
written.
still think what's his name is cute, but he's an asshole.
The one that beat her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris
Brown.
Oh God, he's awful.
Brown.
Chris Brown.
All right, so I'm ready for pictures.
Okay, so hopefully the Celeste will not.
So good.
It's hashtag
I just eat
Celeste.
for 3 hours. You're just watching me have dinner.
Hashtag Celeste challenge accepted.
Okay.
And hashtag Celeste Barber. She just fucking hysterical and has been doing this. Now her first picture that she decided to do was with Kendall Jenner. And it's a
Is it this
bikini
one?
shot. No, that's
I don't know who that is, but it's
no.
funny.
Hold on, that's that Ratajkowski, Emily
I don't know who these
Ratajkowski,
fucking
whatever.
people are. So which one's Kendall Jenner?
Yeah, I couldn't pick her out of a lineup.
I'm following
Thank
her on
God.
Instagram now.
Wow.
Emily what?
Oh wait, is Kendall Jenner the one coming out of the pool?
I
don't know which
Kendall
one.
Jenner
Instagram
is
out.
standing in like I don't know, orange or yellow flowers.
Yellow
The
flowers.
first one that was on there, yellow flowers, white bikini,
I don't know what the.
not
Little
bikini,
polka dot.
Oh, this one.
swimsuit, not bikini.
That one.
Yeah. Oh my God, is
Okay.
this woman fucking hysterical?
No, wait. Is on the right? Isn't that
Yeah.
the opening scene from the first season of True Detective?
It looks like it. That's funny.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you for getting that.
I totally
One person
do.
in the
That's
room.
fantastic.
One person.
Oh my God, that's
I'm sorry, I'm on
fantastic.
Instagram. I'm very busy.
Yeah. So, and then Kate Upton is the one coming out of the swimming pool that you were
it-
talking about.
Is it this one?
Yes. Oh my God. So, for those listening, if you can,
Shatner. We have a Shatner.
if for those that are just listening that can't see this, truly look up Australian Instagram comedian Celeste Barber.
At Celeste Barber.
At Celeste Barber.
So many things have won the internet today, but this might be
I'm
the fight.
telling
This
you,
might be it.
Fucking hysterical.
internet is
Bethany
good
Frankel.
lately.
Yeah.
There's one of a Jeep. If you see the
A
Jeep.
Jeep? Is
Oh,
it-
wait, hang
so
on.
now a Jeep is a celebrity?
No, Bethany Frankel is a celebrity,
Yeah.
supposedly.
Go Bethany. I know who Bethany Frankel is.
Oh.
Skinny girl margaritas.
Oh fuck, where'd the Jeep one go? I had it. Where'd it go?
It's right underneath that first one that you posted.
Well,
I'm almost sure
I
that
don't know how
something
you
worse
did
has been
that.
in my mouth than a skinny girl margarita, but I can't
You're
name it
not
offhand.
100% positive.
I think I didn't.
That was the dirtiest, filthiest thing that's ever crossed my
Well,
lips.
we can
Just
look at it
tequila
different.
and water,
The-
isn't it?
There's a Lady
Not
Gaga
even.
one on a surfboard.
Something was wrong with that tequila.
the surfboard.
Like
Harrison will
It's
tell you,
wonderful.
I spit it back, and we had
This
we had to
one?
order 2 more drinks.
Yeah,
This
this
one?
is Lady Gaga.
That's fair because that
Now-
surfboard yoga is harder
Isn't-
than it looks.
Isn't that what Steve Bannon was accused
Funny.
of doing, sucking his own cock?
Yeah, right. He could. That's how he
Oh,
did it.
and listeners from last week will know that we finally found out. We still don't know what the first word, the first expletive was that opened up the sentence from the mooch, because they can't give you any hints. Like you can't Wheel of Fortune your way through that word. because they won't give you anything but asterisks. But remember, we didn't know whether it said suck his own cock or
Right.
suck his own dick.
Right.
It was cock.
Yeah.
Okay. I like
But
it.
still, even
I feel like I heard it like
How I actually heard it unedited.
explicitly, right?
Yeah, I
Where did
heard it
get
before
that
they
from?
bleeped it.
oh, I didn't think there was audio. I thought it was only written.
No.
No, he called the fucking guy.
Yeah, they were on the phone.
Oh, so what's the opening expletive? Why didn't you guys help me last week?
I don't know what you're
because
talking about it.
don't.
I don't listen to you.
All right.
Sometimes you hit like a pitch that nobody can hear.
Can I have one of your dogs tell me what the fuck happened?
Okay, so we got
The one that I love is there's a red bikini, like on the whatever the front of a
is
ship.
it this one.
No, but that's fucking funny. God, no, but that's funny.
Oh, I know which one. This one. Hang on. We got-
This about peed my pants right
This
here.
one-
I was
this
done.
one.
I was
This
done.
one.
Oh, if you are only listening to this, I am sorry, but you need to find what is her name
Go
again?
find that Instagram.
Celeste Barber.
Celeste Barber,
Honest
wonder
to
the
God.
internet.
Here's one Al will appreciate because it involves wine.
Yep.
Here's a,
No,
Isn't it great?
no, it's a
Yep,
drone in the
that's
it's
top
a
one.
water-
That's Black China. That's,
Oh, that's right.
water.
Okay,
right?
so but what's
those are
It
Black
appears to be
China.
a toy helicopter.
okay? There's a
No, those
drone
are your tits.
Yeah, it's a drone.
No.
That's a drone.
just
Yep.
left of the fake
Yeah.
tits.
And
There's
like a fake helicopter.
Yeah, oh,
It's a
that's-
cat flying
Right.
towards her.
Rihanna.
Honestly, it looks like the Fisher Price search and rescue helicopter that I have at my house.
Which one's Rihanna?
The
The
looks
trigger
like
that
kind
makes
of
the
falling
things go.
over a. She's the black one.
She's
It's
not
a good
black.
cue.
Thank you.
Good cue.
I'm just kidding. I don't know. In a black bikini.
Oh, wait.
Where's she from? Barbados?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not,
something like that.
I don't know I don't know which one that is.
She's an islander.
Just kind of going over a pole. I don't know how else to put it.
I don't know.
Like bending over in a swimming pool.
This isn't getting
Here you
better.
go.
Well, wait.
Oh Jesus!
Oh no, I didn't get that one.
Oh, okay.
But then you got this one too.
Oh my God, hysterical. That's Kendall Jenner, apparently.
Okay.
And she just kills me
never
how
know.
she recreates.
This one.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Come on.
Oh.
Okay, the best part about this one is I don't know which one is the real one
I
and
know.
which
I
one
was
is
like,
the
wait,
parody.
which one was the parody?
Because they're both awful.
No.
No one looks good in either picture.
We saw the full length of this, but the closer up shot is even still funny too, where she's just.
Oh my
just,
God. And on
just
the far
shoveling.
right, she looks like Sarah Gilbert.
Yeah,
That's what I thought it was
yeah.
to begin
judges
with.
will allow that. We're
Yeah.
gonna Shatner that one.
Anyway, so funny that Celeste Barber. I appreciated that very much.
I'd like to reclaim my time and tell you about Domain
That was last week.
That was
Fiancé.
last week, yes.
Yeah.
Grease to
We
Grease.
just Shatnered that.
This is the beautiful bottle of rosé I'm enjoying today. It's Grease to Grease. Oh my God, it is just drinkable.
Aaron from LA has said that there's a line from Friends that,
Oh, yeah.
that they still use. Okay, Monica, only dogs can hear you now. Hello.
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying, maybe.
I like that people think
You
that's
don't
the
know.
first time someone said that to me.
And our final story in the headline section comes to us from Al Perkins.
All right.
Oh,
Rosé.
There you
So now we talked about this
Shatner.
briefly. I cut myself in this fucking wine shit again. So
you
we
need
talked
a
about this a
Band-Aid?
couple weeks ago, but I could not find the article, and it turns out it's because it's very old. So the one thing to remember as you're doing your same-sex marriage, and there's a lot of people that I feel are just getting married because they found out they could. So it's like, hey, let's get a puppy. You really, really need to look at the person that you're going to marry's financials, and it's time to get up close and
Yes.
personal about their bank accounts, their student loans.
That's the big one.
What have you been doing with the IRS the last few years?
Yep.
So there is something to this marriage thing where in many states you assume each other's debts, you assume each other's money. Your bank account is no longer your bank account.
That's right.
It becomes community property.
Don't I know it?
Pretty
And I'm not
fuck-
even married. Listen.
Pretty fucking fast. So it
right.
it is something that I want to throw out there. If you know people that are getting married, maybe take your friend that's getting married aside and ask, like, what do you know about his credit?
Yeah.
What do you know about the house that they're in? What do you know about how upside down they are in those two cars?
Credit check, background check,
Yep.
blood test.
Yeah,
Yep.
Google that shit. But
And if anybody
And maybe
wants
a
to,
mental scan.
yeah,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be nice? But if anybody wants to be like, you don't love me, Fuck you. You're
Yeah.
right.
They- 'cause
Now,
I love you enough to know that we're going to be stronger together if we
That's
clear all this
right.
shit up now.
Yeah.
Shatner the shit out.
Yeah.
of
So
it.
just it really has become. I mean, it's not the opioid thing that I think we should be obsessed about, but
That's a nice
this is-
analogy, though.
Yeah, this really is one of those problems that people are getting into it and not realizing. Okay, it's not just a breakup anymore. It's a breakup with lawyers. And I hate to be the
Yeah.
person that says 50%
No.
of all marriages fail and not
No,
50% of all marriages succeed. But I think it's higher than that. On the backside. You really got to know what you're getting into.
Sure.
Well,
because there's a lot of this say yes to the
in a
dress
gay,
shit going
you know,
on.
in with two men getting married, there's a lot of the back shit. you know?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm just saying.
it's an
Oh.
in-hole, not an out-hole.
I
there. What's
wasn't.
the-
I wasn't expecting that from
Oh, I'm
from
sorry.
I wasn't.
From
no,
Rubble.
that was quite the surprise.
Yeah.
Rubble over there.
I'm just saying.
And we're gonna backtrack a little and address the that thing, the room, the people in the room,
The chat room.
the room where it happens, the chat room people, because there's this whole thing that people are saying about Bannon not being able to suck his own cock, and it's not technically possible. Get a Tumblr account, people. Look it up on Tumblr. That shit happens every
super
fucking day on
possible.
Tumblr. Yeah.
By the way, the mooch was on Colbert last night. And
was delightful.
And he asked him if he could do it. And he's like, it's not even possible. So you can't.
Yeah.
It was
Again,
good.
if you think sucking your own cock is impossible, get a Tumblr account. It's gonna show up like every third thing.
Wow.
And I've watched all of them. They're delightful.
I can
It
believe
seems like
you
a
have,
great
yeah.
treat.
3, 6, 9, 12. They're every third.
Every third one. So it really becomes a thing. Social Security benefits, estate planning.
Yeah.
But really watch out
But
for.
that taxes, the money that you owe from years past, all
Oh,
of
the-
it.
yeah.
Aaron, I mean, granted, that was with a heterosexual marriage, but
Yeah.
she had to assume all of Richard's debt. And he had a lot of debt.
Yeah.
And she didn't pay any attention to it.
But it's
And
something-
a year after the divorce.
Yeah.
She was fine.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
of that shit. And even if they own their own house, like you don't know what state any of that shit
And
is
I'm,
in.
I'm going to write this down, and we're going to do the follow-up in thoughtful vulgarity, if that's still a part of the show.
Like somewhere it is.
But
sure.
I'm gonna I want the follow-up to this to be our thoughtful vulgarity question. Let me write it down.
You
But-
write it down. Is that the wrap of your story? I need to know when these out cues are. Can we get more specific?
I know, but if I lose my train of thought on this much coffee and wine, we're
Well, then I'll let you.
All right, let him
Then
think
I'll let
and
you
move
do your
along.
train of thought. We'll be back. Hour 3 comes at you right after this. It's Q Talk America.
You're listening to Q Talk America. This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Holy crap, look at this. Hour 3 has joined you. Show already in progress. Hi, it's Clayton McKee along with Kat Carlson.
Hi.
Marnie Rubble. Al Perkins. It's the show on Q Talk America. Hi,
I know that.
The chat room is rolling right along. You got Nero, Ginny, Harrison, Aaron from LA is still with us. My mom is in there somewhere. I just haven't heard from her in a few minutes, but I'm sure all is well at Mama's house. The lawn service came today and cleaned up all of her stuff. I
love it.
Everything's good, and I don't have to go do it.
Yeah.
I'm all excited
Jenny
about
from
that.
Cinnamon Lane.
And man,
It's so exciting for all of these things.
I need a lawn human. I was looking at my lawn today, going, "Why
I've got
did I water
I've
you?"
got a great company for you. They are
Have I got a
really,
name for
really
you?
nice. They're really nice people and fair too.
Valley-wide?
Mr. McKee,
Sure they are.
I'd like to point something out to you.
Stand by, I got a cue to hit. Ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen,
hey.
this time it's entertainment with Al Perkins.
Oh, boy.
Who that fell down key?
Which key we're not sure.
Yeah, we're
but-
not sure. So we just have a couple of things to talk about. We have the 70 millimeter to talk about. We have So You Think You Can Dance. Probably the movie that has been the most out of touch with American society I've seen in a long time. The series finale of one of my favorite shows. And if you're not watching Game of Thrones, and if you're not listening, Hamilton the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Al Perkins.
So we're gonna start with Hamilton the podcast. I don't know what it's really called. What's it called?
The Hamilcast.
Hamilcast.
Before you get there, an update on last week's Obsession.
Oh, our
as it
8
turns out.
yes. What is that?
The 8/11/17 was the introduction of the new Hamilton app.
Oh, fuck. Really?
Correct. So through the Hamilton app, thank you for letting me shit on your story.
Thank you.
Through the
I applaud you.
Denata Shatner.
I applaud you for
done.
getting in there and just.
clearly I downloaded it the minute it was available. I don't have enough to do in my life, apparently. But through the Hamilton app, if you're in a city that is doing a lottery, you can enter the lottery through the app.
Oh, and it opens at a certain time. I inadvertently signed up for the app because it comes across.
Very exciting. You also get exclusive
Inadvertently?
news. There are also Snapchat-like filters that you can apply Hamilton-themed filters to yourself. There's a very nice one of me out in the world with a nice...
Now I think
you
they're
know.
just oversaturating the market.
Listen,
Nope, can't happen. I will
this
not
is a
accept you.
way
Them's
of
fighting
life.
words.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
I was born this way, bitch.
Isn't that
Exactly.
Lady Gaga?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because Gaga and Hamilton are going to walk hand in hand someday.
All right.
We're going to see it happen. It's all
Fair.
Hamilton's going to touch everything.
I want to be in the room. Da-da-da-da-da.
See, look, it just
By the way,
happened. It
no.
just
You're
happened.
welcome. You're welcome.
Haven't you? It's called Gamilton.
In any event, that's what that was. On to the Hamilcast. Go, Al Perkins. Back to
Okay.
you in studio.
Yeah, back to you in studio. I do have to
Go,
say
Raid!
the Hamilcast is. It started off really annoying. I can't deny it. Bianca and whatever her name is were just getting on my last fucking
Didn't
nerve.
they recently break up and one of them went their separate ways?
Yeah, one of them's been kicked to the curb. But I do have to say that as it's progressed and things have gone on, and now they've been acknowledged by Lin-Manuel Miranda,
LM².
and she just about shit her pants, and I had to agree with her that he acknowledged her and what she's doing on Twitter. If for nothing else, I really have to tell you, it's an interesting way, if you like theater, if you like musical theater, that they're doing interviews with, Universal Swings, which all of us who enjoy musical theater never knew there was such a thing as a Universal Swing. And that means you can jump in for any cast member anywhere in the 3 productions across the country. So you could get a call tomorrow saying, tomorrow you're playing girl number 3 in LA. Get on the fucking plane.
What?
And so
What
you
an
Wow.
exciting jet set lifestyle.
Right, so you get to talk to someone that would never be interviewed. They would interview the star, the potential Tony winner, but you'll never hear interviews with someone who's the third person to play George Washington and hear about his journey to where he is now, that he's in this very established big hit musical, how he manages his times, and her last episode was done between the 2 performances.
Good night, Harrison.
So you get a really
Good night, Ari.
interesting interview with a performer on a day when they have 2 shows, and what they do with that time in between giving 2 gut-wrenching performances of 6 hours of being on and singing. And someone takes the time, and it's just interesting. So and I know if you like Hamilton because they rap.
I still don't know. I have never listened to the soundtrack.
No, I'm just saying, rated, but at least you're saying I've never. But there's people that have never heard it.
That was aimed at some other people that we know.
Oh.
But it's turned into this very interesting interview of the craftsmen, the people that you don't usually get to hear from.
I
The
listened
supporting
to,
cast.
Yeah.
Well, I listened to one episode where I don't remember who it was they were interviewing, but that particular person was prepared at any given moment to play up to 3 different roles and like principal roles.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah. He was he understudied Burr, Washington, and Jefferson.
Yeah. And like could do Jefferson
never-
on Wednesday and Washington on Thursday and just be ready for that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And I can't imagine. Well, I mean, maybe I can because of how well I feel like I know the cast recording, but
So
I would pay money to see
see
you
me
just
try and just-
dropped in.
just dive in to play Aaron
Here's your
Burr.
character, go, and you've got to just do. I
do
think
you
it'd be
know
hilarious.
how many shows I'm ready to do this for?
Oh no, every show produced since 19.
Any idea? how
Every
many-
show produced since 1937. I know you are. Any show that's ever touched the boards.
Strap
you're-
on the penis,
Right.
take off the penis, put the heels on. It
Hello,
doesn't matter.
Dolly.
I'm ready.
Hello, anybody. Thoroughly
Good
modern
morning,
Millie.
Baltimore.
Barnaby, I am ready.
Speaking of which, just sign up, on Colbert again the other night. Sutton Foster. She was adorable on Colbert.
Love Sutton
The
Foster.
woman could
She
not get
was
any cuter.
just as adorable as she could ever be, and it was just so cute. The interview, and she keeps joking about her Tonys, and it's
Yeah.
just so cute.
And she's on a show called Younger.
That's
that
what they were
is
talking about.
So good, and it's just it's a charming.
Because she's 42, I
Yeah,
think,
playing
and
a
she's playing a
26-year-old.
26, 7-year-old. Yeah.
And it's so believable, and it's so much fun to watch. But anyways, if you're lucky enough to be in LA and you're getting the tour that came from San Francisco and came to LA, as with any show that's going to LA, they have upped the ante and they have stolen from everywhere to make sure that the cast in LA. Because when you do a tour, you want to make sure that you play LA. The whole reason to do a tour is so that producers,
See
Hollywood
you,
people.
I was
In the
gonna say,
audience,
I would imagine the actors are all clamoring to
they're
play
clamoring
in LA
to
as
make
well.
sure they get
Right.
LA, and sometimes they'll be like, "No, I don't want to be second on Broadway. I'd rather be first in LA, and be that." So Joshua Henry, one of the most talented people who I've had the great good fortune of seeing 3 times on Broadway and once off Broadway. Very, very talented, and I saw him in Chicago. So that's off Broadway. I saw him in Chicago as Aaron Burr. And it was one of the most amazing things. They've put him into the LA cast and put him as Aaron Burr. So you get to that performance, which means he may come to Phoenix. So that might be what's coming. Olivia. Oh, what the fuck's her name? Tony Winner for West Side Story.
Yeah. Shit, what is her name? It's
Tony Winner for West Side Story. She was Angelica in Chicago.
Yeah,
gave it her own spin.
Karen Olivo.
Karen Olivo.
Right out of my brain. Right out of my brain.
Brilliant, beautiful singer, dancer, actress. Tony Winner is coming in to play Angelica. And
because she's old in the Heights too, right?
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
they're in the Heights. So the cast that's coming to LA, it's not the original cast, but boy, howdy,
That's
are
so
you getting
exciting
some
that
biggies.
Karen Olivo's coming to LA.
But more importantly, Joshua Henry. Let me tell you what he does with Aaron Burr is
Let me tell you
different
about
and
Karen
exciting.
Olivo
Olivia.
for a
Oh no,
minute.
because I've seen her twice. I saw her in West Side Story on Broadway, and I saw her in Chicago.
I've seen none of these people in person, but I am very familiar with all of the internet.
Yeah, and
All of
Joshua
it.
Henry.
All of the internet.
Joshua Henry, who was from the Scottsboro Boys, and he did he did Violet with Sutton Foster, which that year it didn't get a lot of attention because there was so much on Broadway that year. But Violet, this beautiful musical by the woman who helped write Thoroughly Modern Millie and adapted it. This was a revival of hers, and it was Sutton Foster and Joshua Henry, and it was one of the most beautifully sung, beautifully acted shows I have ever seen. And it just got overwhelmed by all the other things that were on that year. But it was one of the most moving performances, and I was like, this guy. And I saw him in The Wiz at City Center Encores, and every time I've seen him, I'm like, this guy again. Who is he? He's like that Joshua Lerman, that actor that I'm like, wait, take note, Logan Lerman.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Logan Lerman. That's the one that whenever I see him, I'm like, that kid, that guy, him. Watch him. So anyways, watch this space. So
Nice. You've probably told the story before in regards to, you said Thoroughly Modern Millie. I had never heard it, or it never just resonated with me. The story of how Sutton got to be where she is.
the rumor is, and I've never actually heard who was supposed to be Millie in the Old Globe in San Diego, but Kristen Chenoweth is the name that comes up the most often, that she dropped out and Sutton Foster got plucked from the chorus. Even though she wasn't a complete unknown, she had played.
That's not the story she told.
She had played Fontaine, I dated someone named Fontaine, and then Fontaine is from the musical. I don't know the difference. But she had played big roles before on Broadway. She was in the Old Globe, and she was called up from the chorus and became Millie, and then went right to Broadway. Everyone thought they would replace her with a big star, and she was so good at the Old Globe that she went to Broadway and won the Tony.
Different story that she told.
How did she go?
Similar, but different. Show was already on Broadway. She was an understudy.
No, Old Globe.
Well, it was already on stage. Let me say it.
Yeah,
Already on
at
stage.
the Old Globe in
On
San
stage.
Diego.
And she was understudy for the person and got a call that they were out sick or did something, whatever, and came in and they're like, oh, that person's never coming back because they...
Right, and that's it. At the Old Globe, because every show premieres somewhere. Like the Donna Summer
okay.
musical, Jersey Boys are going to premiere at the Old Globe. Hairspray, I think, came from Seattle. Everything comes from somewhere. They play some out-of-town date to prep. So she was at the Old Globe. She got called up, and the rumor is that
Hold
it's
on.
Christian
Thoroughly
Chenoweth.
Modern Millie was at La Jolla Playhouse, not the Old Globe.
Oh, La Jolla Playhouse.
She was in What the World Needs Now at the Old Globe.
so
Prior to Thoroughly Modern Millie, she had already been on Broadway in
Les Miserables.
Grease
And Les Miserables.
and Les Mis.
And she was Fontaine or Fontaine.
No, she was touring Les Mis.
But she played a big role.
She was Eponine.
Eponine. Oh,
but
well,
she
even
was
bigger.
touring. But she was touring.
She's younger. That's true. She wouldn't
Right.
play the old lady.
No, not yet. She left Les Mis to be in the ensemble of the pre-Broadway run of Thoroughly Modern Millie at La Jolla Playhouse. However, Kristen Chenoweth backed out, and somebody else turned down the job. Erin Dilly turned down the job, and Foster eventually took the role of Millie. During a Millie hiatus, she appeared in Godspeed Musicals and The Three Musketeers and South Pacific, and then back to Millie on Broadway.
Yeah, and everyone thought that when it transferred to Broadway, everyone thought she would be replaced because she wasn't a big enough name, but she was so good. And I just happened to be in New York and got a ticket and sat by myself, and I had never heard of her. I'd never seen her, never heard of her. And I was by myself, and the guy that next to me was by himself, and we were almost holding hands. I'm like, is this like the biggest star we're ever going to see in our lifetime? And we were both like just slack-jawed at like, what can't this woman do? Smile of Carol Burnett and Mary Tyler Moore. Like, there was so much just charisma coming off the stage from her. And like, my titties get hard just thinking about it. Honest to God, when she got to the 11 o'clock number and she sang Gimme Gimme, it just stopped the show. By the time she stood center stage and just sang Gimme Gimme to the crowd, we went batshit. We lost our collective minds, and it stopped the show cold. And we were all just like, I don't know who she is, but she's the biggest thing I've ever... Like, it felt like you were watching a star be born. Like, it really was that...
And that's where her first Tony came from.
I was saying, it kind of...
That
it kind
role.
of
Oh,
was.
and you knew it when you knew when you saw it. How can you not give back
Her
this
first
love
Tony nom and win from
and
that
win?
role.
Yeah, and from a role that they thought she would get away with. Okay, the most tone deaf thing I have seen in a long time. Kind of a funny movie called Landline. It's what's her butt from SNL, the one that said fuck on her first time on and kind of disappeared.
So not Kate McKinnon.
Not Kate McKinnon. I gotta look this
I have seen a lot of
Leslie Jones?
complaints about this, about
No.
being
No,
kind
no,
of like...
Leslie Jones, but I can see how you think that.
Let me get there and get you her name, because she's a producer on the movie, and she was really good in the last. It was Obvious Child was the last movie that she made. Jenny Slate is her name. So it's Jenny
nothing.
Slate. She said the F-bomb on her first time on SNL, and she was only there for one season.
Yeah, well.
But she made a movie with this guy. The director's name is Gillian Robespierre. She made a movie called Obvious
like a
Child.
porno.
Yeah, she made a
Gillian
movie called
Robespierre.
Obvious Child that's really good. So I was really hoping this would be good. It's Edie Falco, Jenny Slate, John Turturro, and Edie Falco has rarely been better. Like, the performances in this movie are really good. It's kind of funny, but it is the most tone-deaf, white-privileged, oh my God, these are horrible people movie I've ever... Like, I was, like, squirming in my chair. Like, there's a part where her little sister is being arrested for an heroin deal, and she's worried about the fact that she cheated on her husband. And no one in the family acknowledges this girl just stole money from someone's locker, got busted during a heroin deal, ran away and no one told her parents where she was, is like having sex and leaving the house, but they give her a car because she's got Oprah-like wisdom. What? The reward for being this horrible 16-year-old is she got a car, and why are you so wise? She's not wise. She's fucking doing heroin and stealing money from people's locker, and there is absolutely no one acknowledges anything that this girl is doing. And she's not the star of the movie. She's the secondary character, but the main character is so obsessed with the wrong things and so self-involved and grotesque, which is Jenny Slate, who's usually really good, and she's a producer on the movie, so you'd think he'd be like, shouldn't we acknowledge the heroin problem over here? Or the white girl that's making people steal things out of stealing cash. Like, it was gross. Like, honestly, grotesque.
What's her name again? I'm sorry.
Jenny Slate. And she's very funny. An Obvious Child, their last movie together, was very good. Very, very good. This was just so out of touch and such a white people problem. Like, you just finished it and you're like, people should be picketing this movie. Like, this is exactly white people privilege. Like, people are in jail for years and prison over pot, and this girl is stealing money from people's locker and is getting arrested for a heroin bust and gets a car bought for her. It was awful. We talked about Dunkirk last week and seeing it in 70mm. Spend the money, go see it in 70mm. If anybody's still showing it, oh my God, what a whole different movie. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. It turns out if they film in 70mm and you go see it in 70mm, no one charges you anything extra, and you don't get many previews because they have to do it on a projector. So you can actually hear the projector, which is a little bit distracting because it's run through a projector.
That's
it's
cool.
not digital. And it's beautiful. And there was only 2 previews before the movie, or possibly 3, because there's only 3 movies that are also, like 3 movies that are on a projector. They can't load 19,000 previews and let's go to the lobby. That's not in there. So that
I
was
do
good
like
times.
that song.
I'm trying to do this fast because I like my thoughtful vulgarity question.
Well done.
Carrot and the stick.
And the last
carrot
thing
and
was
the stick.
the season finale was either this past Saturday or the Saturday before, series finale, not season finale, of Orphan Black. They went the lost way of heavy on mythology, of where you're like,
Damn
oh
it.
Jesus Christ, you know, like the Lord of the Rings bullshit where who the fuck knows what's going on now, those trees are walking. But they wrapped that shit up. They wrapped up the storylines, they settled old scores, they got it done. And it's probably doubtful that Tatiana Maslany will get nominated for an Emmy next year because it just ended now, and the voting season is like
Far
a year
away,
away.
right.
She may be forgotten, but honestly, the fact that sometimes you forget you're watching one actress play 5 different roles, it just boggles the mind. And it was just so well done and just very emotional, very fun. And it was nice. 5 seasons, maybe 50 episodes, possibly as many as 60, but just quality TV that had a couple bumps here and there, but very few. Nothing's perfect. But wow, what a well done show, and sad to see that go away, because she probably will never have a role that complex, or that many roles that complex again. But you hope that somebody finds something to do with this actress, because she is just amazing. And the fact that you like all 7 characters and they're played by one actress, and you honestly do fall through the hole and forget, because they're so good. And you have your favorites. That's the best part, is when you have your favorite clone. Yeah.
I had
Shatner!
In reference to entertainment, I have a little flashback to Obsession from hour 1, and I completely forgot about this, and I don't know what was said. It made me remember it. I have been a little obsessed with watching the videos that Sean Hayes has been posting of being on set for Will and Grace filming. He walked all through the soundstage, showed the set, parts that they couldn't show. Grace's office has been expanded because obviously it's 10 years down the road, you know. So
hopefully her business
you would
grew.
think her business would have grown.
Based on her assistant.
So, right. In spite of Karen Walker.
Or really her talent as a designer, because let's be honest.
He was walking around, you know, talking to all the different people. It was very cute, but he drove on set, drove to his parking space, and just saying hi to people, just walking around with somebody was behind him with
somebody was filming. Yeah,
it was.
Assistant
I just thought it was very cute that he is so excited about all of this and getting back to work with that cast and everything that's going on. That was kind of a little mini obsession for me this week, or this past week, watching him stuff.
And on top of that, if you are eagerly awaiting the new season of Will and Grace, last week on YouTube, NBC and Will and Grace dumped highlights from every season.
Oh,
they've got clips from, and they're arranged in like seasons. So it's like season 1, like you get the cute clip where Jack and Karen first meet.
Right.
Yeah, you get the one from like season 6 where they're on the cruise and Jack and Will like wake up and think that they slept together. Yeah, like there are so many, and they dump them all at once. I'm overwhelmed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But yeah, go cruise through YouTube. You can take walks down memory lane with some greatest hits.
If you are like me and you bought all 8 seasons of Will and Grace on DVD because you needed it, every season came with like a dance montage, an outtakes montage. Like there was 4 or 5 montages, and there's one episode where Karen has to stand up and like give some speech, and no one can make it through it. Like just the way she stands and does her thing, it knocks out everybody. And you have to imagine she had to have done it alone in a dark room that she finally got through it, because the extras can't take. No one can take it. Like just the standing up and her boobs flying and the hair jiggling on her head. Like there's just no part of that you can watch.
That's funny.
And it was so quick and funny. You're like, that probably took like an hour and a half.
Just for the one little thing.
And one of the best things was Whoopi Goldberg had a sitcom for half a second during the run of Will and Grace, and they joke about going to see it. And they're like, nobody has that kind of time. It takes them like 10 hours to film that thing. Funny little inside jokes, but it's just so exciting to know that they're coming back
for 2 seasons.
Yeah, I know they got renewed already.
They got renewed already, and they're putting that Tina Fey show about the news station, which I'm going to catch up on.
After it?
Yeah, they're pairing it for must see. They're trying to get must see TV back.
Get Thursday nights back.
Yeah. Oh, and the last thing, So You Think You Can Dance. If you're not watching, watch. One of the best competition shows on TV. The dancing is magnificent every single year. My boyfriend Robert, the all-star, not the contestant, although he's lovely too, but my boyfriend Robert is back. Dreamy. Just dreamy.
Got it. Are we, I forget, are we 2 things?
We can do 2 things. We have plenty of time, yeah.
Boys and girls, it's time again for our dear friend, Kat Carlson. 2 things is what she brings. 2 things is what she's talking about. 2 things, important little things. That is what she's spouting out.
You just need 2 things.
That means 2 things.
Let's get 2 things clear.
And then 2 things about yourself.
And I've come to share with you one of 2 things. No, 2 of 2 things. We're sharing 2 things right now.
There are only 2 things I can't stand in this world.
Quick, grab 2 things you love.
It can be 2 things.
Only 2 things in the world I'm scared of.
Rise of frazzle, 2 things.
Remember 2 things.
I believe in 2 things.
Guys are only after 2 things.
What's better, doing 2 things at once or just one?
Never half-ass 2 things. Whole-ass 1 thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kat Carlson.
So, I scoured the internet on a fairly daily basis for a lot of different things. Sometimes for this show, sometimes for other things. But I'm pretty familiar with all the things. And unfortunately, this week, the news out of North Carolina was inescapable. And so 2 things is really 1 thing, but 2 things, but 1 thing. And here are the 2 things. A Nazi flag and a pride flag. There is no way in the world to conflate them, right? You cannot compare. That's a false equivalence. You cannot. Anybody that tries to is really just a Nazi supporter. Like where
did that comparison come from?
Yeah.
So, I haven't heard that.
I haven't either.
It's been because I'm a social media fighter.
Oh, I understand.
Because my thumbs type pretty fast. And actually, there's even an article about it. Wait, let me see if it's still
and an
right
interview.
here.
There's an interview with the guy with the Nazi flag.
Really?
I had not heard this little snippet.
Yeah, hang on just 2 seconds. Where's the gay section?
Gay. Right here around the table.
So it may or may not have originated from a Fox News guest. I don't know if it originated there or if it made its way up there. I don't know.
Or down there, depending on how you look at it.
But a guest on Fox and Friends, the shittiest show in the world.
Trump's favorite.
Far and away.
Said that the Confederate flag and the pro-gay rights rainbow flag represent the exact same thing.
Oh.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Star Parker, conservative commentator and author, appeared on the morning show to speak about the Charlottesville events and just compared the Confederate flag. Oh, I'm sorry, the Confederate flag, not the Nazi flag, to the rainbow pride flag. It's the same thing. They're just not.
No.
They're just not. and she's trying to say that the pride flag is expressing that certain people are not welcome here, like gays only.
That's why it's the rainbow.
You're missing
inclusive
the point entirely.
All colors are welcome here.
Entirely. But you know what? We're living in this world of like false equivalence and logical fallacies and the whatabouts. As soon as somebody starts like a counter argument with, well, what about? No. Now you're just trying to take me off topic.
Yeah. We're dealing with this issue, this president.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
This is, not what about how long it took America to get into World War II. That's not a thing. First of all,
it is Dunkirk.
I mean, well, it's a thing, but it doesn't have anything to do with this.
No, not even a tiny bit.
Not at all to do with this.
Right.
You know what I mean? You cannot argue in, well, what about?
Right.
You know what I mean? I just broke my foot. Well, what about that lady over there? She broke her hip. I don't give a fuck about her. My foot's broken. This is the thing.
Right.
Like and I don't know how to get out of this because unfortunately we've like systemically and systematically dismantled the public education system, so nobody knows any different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't know that we're being led down a wrong path. And it's a really dangerous thing, but it's
or
been
people
kind
say
of,
things like "I'll never use algebra again," and they delete things from their brain that you do need that again. That's gonna come up.
You sure do use
how
algebra.
how your government works is gonna come up.
I should hope
so.
Yeah. It's supposed to.
Yeah, how your government works, your civics lessons.
Because as it turns out, when we ignore them for a generation and a half, this is the result.
Yeah, this kind of shit comes back to haunt you.
This is what happens when you know what I mean?
When you don't remember that in the 1960s, the Freedom Riders, not Freedom Writers, they're two different things.
Right.
But the Freedom Riders were being
not the Michelle Pfeiffer
bombed
movie.
and right. Sure. There's a freedom. No, not Michelle Pfeiffer. The girl boy from Boys Don't Cry. She's Freedom
Hillary
Riders.
Swank.
Hillary Swank is Freedom Riders.
No, I was talking Dangerous Minds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there is a Freedom Riders. But Freedom Riders are the ones that fought for the vote and got like dogs and hoses and beaten and set on fire. That happened in the 60s. That's not 1860. That's 1960. And because people ignore that, they think, oh, this is ancient history. Why are you worried about this? No, this is the 60s.
Right.
Like, this shit just happened. We're not even 2 generations away from what you're talking about, but because people don't pay attention in school or people say, like, oh, you'll never need that again, it's not important. It kind of is. It really kind of is.
No, the fact that you can just, like, dismiss entire batches of learning, like, freaks me out.
Yeah, and that a 70-year-old doesn't
right?
understand.
Yeah, so
no, but it's going around the internet today.
No, I know, but it is originally.
No. I mean, the thing that I saw was a guy that was being interviewed about his Nazi flag, and he's like, "Well, you fly a rainbow flag outside your house. That's the same thing." No, yours was about excluding a group of people. This one is saying welcome.
You're right.
That people are welcome. Yours is saying people aren't welcome.
My flag is saying we're here, we're queer. Is it brunch yet?
Yeah. And why do I gotta sit inside like an asshole?
Why is that mimosa so orange?
Yeah.
Right.
Are those bottomless mimosas?
I like a mimosa I can see through mimosa.
Can we use an eyedropper for the orange juice? Like, that's what I really. That's what we're talking about.
It's like the vermouth in a martini. Just show me where it is.
And just smell it, and we're good.
Yeah. So yeah, my 2 things is really just one thing.
One big thing.
One big
thing. And these are college educated in the
important.
process of college education.
I think educated is a tough word.
But this is what you're coming out of college. That's what you're going to come out of college with. Is that I was at a white supremacist rally in my skinny jeans with a Starbucks coffee and a Kentucky Hut torch, and I can't figure out why I can't get a job. I'm going to blame Obama for the fact that I can't get a job, not the fact that I stood outside of a church screaming things at worshipers, like
threatening people and waving a torch.
And waving a torch. But they're not going to see
freedom
it.
of speech.
Also,
because no one has taught them that there are consequences to freedom of speech.
Right.
Also,
absolutely, you're right.
While they were at Home Depot, did they just pass by the pitchforks, or were they too expensive?
Probably too expensive. They were eco-friendly.
If you're gonna be a cliche,
right past the wood and the whole thing as well.
They went at a gently woven something rather. And Nat brings up a great point. How can you participate in a democratic process when you don't know how democracy works? That is the absolute truth.
From a man who lives in the biggest democracy in the world.
Right. From the largest democracy in the world. And I have to say, like, when people were all like, "What the fuck happened in 2000?" with the when people in November of 2000 found out what the Electoral College was, and you saw those people blank face, like, what? How does that happen? Well, it was in your fucking high school history class that you decided to
I didn't learn anything about Chads.
Right.
Damn it, they didn't teach us about
now,
Chads.
That's a whole nother thing in state
dangling
different state laws. But if seriously, like, when
is it weird that I distrust all people named Chad?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
That's fair.
But it's just hanging around.
It's
Shatner the shit out of people named Chad.
It's one of those things that as the conversation progressed in 2000, and you heard all these people being like, "Well, what the hell is that?" You are a high school graduate. Allegedly. Like, this is something they went over in detail. Like, that's a big part of what you go over.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't remember.
No.
Yeah.
Because they didn't, I mean, I
no
truly remember what I wore on the 5th day of school, but that was something that, like, I have a very long memory, and I don't remember them talking about
It's one of
this,
those times that you need someone to be like, pay the fuck attention. This shit's going to come up. And it's why civics classes are so important. If you can take a civics class and find out how your local government works, you're going to be the richer for it. Like, I'm just telling you.
True.
Yeah.
So 2 things was really a rant.
Okay, it's a rant is fine. Do you feel better? Do you feel a little better?
I mean, a little bit.
Is that it? Did I win? Did I win?
Yeah.
You went, did I?
Well, we're going to go into this segment because Al's got something he wants to talk about. Al,
Weird.
we're just
You want more to talk about?
live intro, Al.
I'm asking questions.
Oh, I see. Very nice.
You know how it is.
I do.
2 hours and 40 minutes after alcohol has
And
been
large amounts of
served,
coffee.
and big amounts of coffee from opinionated people. Something comes up that should be taboo or you shouldn't talk about, like religion or politics. We're not afraid to do that. Why not?
Well, let's.
What could possibly go wrong?
Let's find out.
So my question on this topic is, and it came up recently during a very honest...
During a torch protest?
Yes, exactly. You know...
So is that a tiki party?
Right? You can't protest.
Don't start those kind of things. Don't start a
protest
sentence
all
with
the
that
time. I'm just saying, sometimes you got to drink the coffee and enjoy your skinny jeans and have a little conversation.
Oh, I can't enjoy my skinny jeans.
But
yet.
something about the Bee Gees, the before gays, came up.
Stay alive. Stay alive.
All right. It's serious.
It came up in conversation about gay weddings in this topic that I've been kind of like focusing with gay friends that I have. Like, did you know each other financially? Like, did you have any idea
Just
of like what you're
biblically.
marrying into? Like, can you buy a house now that one of you has fucked up credit and does shitty things? So, and this may pertain more to us than to you from a slightly younger generation, but when did you realize that gays could be an actual couple? Like, it wasn't just fucking.
Oh, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, because I wasn't going that way.
So
It wasn't just hooking up. Like, when did you realize,
Yeah.
like, oh, they can actually be partners in life and, like, have a life together?
So my first interaction with anyone gay, and my first like
TV
example.
TV doesn't count.
No, and I had never seen it on TV. So
I'd seen Tony Randall, so I assumed.
Right.
No, I mean people
I saw Soap.
may remember. I say this all the time that I didn't know that gay was a thing.
Yeah.
For a long time until I met 2 women that I ended up, they were coworkers of mine at a construction company. Imagine that.
My
Save
money
your
was on
puns.
softball game, but that's pretty close.
Softball game or a Subaru dealership? I wasn't
But
sure.
no,
which
and they
one.
were 2 women considerably older than I am. They were.
If you
Clayton's
say
age.
47,
Yeah.
I'm going to knock your ass out.
No, at the time I was 18, 19, and at the time, I guess she still is. The eldest of the couple was the same age as my mother. So she would now be 60
Okay,
something.
that's better.
No, my parents were born in the 50s. My parents are baby boomers.
Hush, little Catherine, don't say a word.
Don't Catherine me.
We're going to punch you in the
Remember that part in Die Hard where the villain...
So my first example of
Let me
like
Alan Rickman the shit out of you.
of real life lesbians was a couple that had been together for a long time. They raised kids together, and they were actually in the process of breaking up. which was horrible and awkward for everybody that worked
Well,
with
it's hard to
them.
do.
Yeah.
It is.
They
it is.
say.
Yeah.
So I think out of the gate, that was kind of my example and expectation. Was that, they live together for a long time and then do horrible things to each other for about 2 years until they get over it and become friends again.
Yep.
Well, it's just like regular people.
Right,
Shatner.
exactly.
That's how Johnny Carson did it.
Multiple times. Multiple times.
Yeah, so that the gay community and just being gay was not first about hookups for me. That was always kind of the example was couples.
and the ladies may come from a different perspective too. I mean, it doesn't have to be just age that may differentiate the answer.
So
now an aged woman will speak.
I remember the first gay guy that I met.
She's still younger than me.
No, I like how throwing food at me is somehow bad.
The fact that you can't catch it is shocking.
Yeah,
No.
gays can't
It's
catch
not like
it.
he's
Yeah, right.
It's
No,
like
gays don't catch. We probably could. We just don't try.
There are some stereotypes that are just true.
Yeah.
Pretend you're a seal.
Riding along on a bike with a bottle of rosé in your purse and a baguette. That's a true stereotype. Saw that today.
And track lighting. I don't know how he has
You
lighting.
today?
Yeah.
Oh my. Anyway, when I first came out, the people that I kind of flocked to, that I that whole birds of a feather, they were all
Playing softball.
totally yeah, that's really true. But they'd all been in relationships for quite a while, and so I was 19, and they were mid 20s to later 20s, and I just kind of fell in with them, and they were like, "Oh, little baby dyke, let's make sure that she's protected and whatever."
Yeah.
And the guys that I met were very similar. Granted, just like with any, doesn't matter, gay, straight, black, white, pink, purple, whatever, there definitely were people that were just running around and talking about sex, and the people that were more blatant about it, where you didn't think, if you didn't have a picture of people being together and didn't know, I mean, it really, the gay guys gave a real bad
Spin on that.
spin on it.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was,
I'm sure they would prefer spit on it, but spin on it sounds
well,
good too.
They may have discussed that.
We've been awfully specific tonight.
Yeah.
I know, we really have.
But
Blame it on the coffee. Yeah.
I didn't know.
But I mean, it really was one of those, like, women will be I don't know, dirty and whatever, and kind of talk about other women and whatnot, but it was the the real sexually explicit kind of stuff that the guys got into talking about, that made it seem like there wasn't any relationships. Like, there was just so...
Well, guys are always trying to, like they do with any fucking story. Not any fucking story, but any story that they try to tell. It's, their car's better, their their route run from the law was faster and it took longer, and the gunshot they did was longer. They exaggerate everything.
Right.
So I'm going to guess they're trying to one-up each other with regards to their sex stories. Whether or not it's factual, actual, or even satisfactual, it doesn't matter. They're just going to try to outdo each other by telling these stories, and maybe the women don't give a shit.
Well, and it was all about shock value, I think. The
Conquest, there's
it really became
notch
like
in the
this,
belt kind of thing.
And how...
Gotta get a new belt.
I don't even know, right? I don't even know if it was about offending people. It was just like, how far can I push this? But when you ran into the gentlemen that had been together for a long time, like, they just, like with anybody, I mean, they just didn't need to do that. So so in answer to the actual question, 19, like, I knew when I was 19 that could be a thing, but I can absolutely see how people would see it otherwise.
Yeah.
Because of how it was presented.
And I came out very young, you know what I mean? I came out at
you did.
15. I was, was already having a sexual relationship, but I didn't have an idea that it could go somewhere. Like, I hope we keep having sex.
Right.
Because that's really good.
Right.
That's firing on all cylinders.
Right.
Good time for me, good time for you. Let's keep doing that. But I never
And
thought
even
of
if
it.
you're not happy, good time for me.
Good time for me.
I don't
You
care
seem to have
about
been
you.
there, yeah.
Thanks for participating.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a natural expectation of a teenage boy, though. You know what I mean?
And
To be
that's-
planning the
Right.
white wedding
But
and all
to-
of that.
but
The
to
girls
think-
have the hope chest, and they're sitting there waiting for when will my Prince
and
Charming
that's how we
or Princess
socialize.
Charming?
That's also partly how we socialize our children and how
You're
we
right.
how we
Absolutely.
imprint that upon them.
And that's very true. And
Guys are supposed to be players in a lot of ways.
We don't expect a whole lot out of our male children until they're like 30.
Yeah,
right.
You're right.
So I mean, and that's a good thing to hear because I honestly never
I better
saw it
get
as
ready.
something.
You've only got a few days.
Your boyfriend's almost there.
Oh no! I meant for me, I'm almost 30.
I know.
No, but we really don't. We don't.
I'm
We don't
gonna
expect a
lie,
lot of
Shatner.
accountability. We don't expect
Right.
a lot of responsibility. We don't expect a lot of achievement out of
monogamy, anything.
out of
I mean,
male
yeah.
children. No, we certainly don't until you're grown and then have a house and a family of your own, and then by God, everything rests on your poor shoulders. But
And
up until then, you've
True.
got no kind of responsibility.
Yeah.
You
Up
can
until she
rape
gets
and
knocked
pillage.
up, yeah.
yeah.
You don't have to be accountable for.
And
Seriously.
it was a question about a guy that I was fooling around with my senior year and like having a lot of sex with my senior year, and somebody was like, "Oh, so you were a couple?" I'm like, I was like, I honestly don't know that I had that thought or thought it was a possibility. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then I met someone was like, "Oh, aren't you and he together?" And I'm like, well, we fuck, but I don't know what, like, I really couldn't make that in my mind be two men
But
or
did
two
you guys
women.
ever spend time together not
Outside?
fucking?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay.
We
Because
went on
that's
dates. We went on dates
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and did like one of the most. The one guy was one of the most romantic dates I've ever been on. We went to relive it at the Fort Niagara a couple of weeks ago. But it really was one of those things where I didn't see anything beyond. Well, we're gonna have sex a lot, but it wasn't like. And we're going to eventually find out about our credit
House or-
scores,
no,
and
right,
we're gonna,
right,
you know what I
right,
mean? Like when I came out, the joy of being gay was there's no marriage, there's no kids, and they're not even a threat.
Do you
know
remember
what I mean?
he talked about that on the show?
Yeah, like
Oh, and I'd say I would be on the same page as you. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I don't have to worry about
But
any of this shit because
that shit, like I
Right.
don't need to know what your credit is because I'm leaving your ass.
and I I guess probably similar to you, I never worried about anybody else's. What was in their silo of shit because I'm like, well, that's going to be your silo of shit.
Yeah.
I'll have mine. We'll commingle, but
And the best our silos are gonna get is
Right.
like 2 blocks
right,
away.
you gotta. And I'll support you. I'll help you. I would support you while you deal with your silo.
Yeah.
But leave my silo alone. And by the way, don't come visit my silo.
I don't think I'm lowering
'Cause
down
I
to your
got-
silo
right.
level.
No.
How did I get lost in this farm metaphor? But I have to say that
confused.
it was many years later. It was probably after I moved to Arizona. So I was like almost 20 when I met someone who was like, we're a couple. And then like they were a couple. And that was something you had to deal with. And then someone cheated. And then I was still 19. And I watched the ramifications of these people that identified as a couple, which was completely new to me. And one was Muslims and one like it was like this whole eye-opening experience of like other religions, other cultures, who you had to hide from, who you had to be open with, that I had never seen before. And they were a couple and they were together and there was cheating and then you just watched it fall apart. And I'm like, okay, so that's something that you can strive for, achieve, and then really fuck up.
Yeah.
And then like probably another 6 years later, I met a couple that had been together faithfully. They got together when they were older. I think they were both in their late 30s, early 40s. They became a couple. They raised their children together. They made grandchildren. They had grandchildren that they shared. And it was just an amazing thing to see the other side of that, people that made it work. And that was really, Bob, and I can't remember what his husband's name was. But, and they
Mo
were
and
talking.
Bob?
No. It was Bob
I love
and
them. I
can't-
love
but they were
them.
the sweetest people.
Yeah.
And to think that
Bob
they
and
had
Doug.
done monogamy, they had done the raising of children, they had done combining their assets,
Right.
they had found a way to like legally make it work so they could be at each other's side till death do they part without any of the legalities. But the fact that they would tell stories about their children and they called them our children, like, and I knew them in their 60s to early 70s, their children in their 40s, and everyone was just, this is how life is. And that was the first time I'd ever seen like, oh, this we can like what's her face, Paul Newman and whatever her name is,
Joanne Woodward.
Joanne Woodward. Like we can just make this work for a lifetime. I'd never seen it, and it really it's just rare. So it was a very eye-opening experience and a part of I think the culture that I'm the tail end of. Just as like, oh, I don't know that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can see that.
Well, as I had stated, I think it would be in the similar camp as you, because before when in '93 when I came out, I was like, well, that wasn't an option. Yes, you could be together, but you were still none of that legal stuff came into effect. You didn't have to worry about. Well, I would say you didn't have to worry about it, but I guess it really wasn't a focal point of all that stuff because of it wasn't legal. There was not a legal anything. So I think that's part of it. Now, I will add to that, when I first was out in the scene and around all those people, there were a few older couples that were couples, but I guess I didn't really focus on them so much because I wasn't around them a lot. I just knew of them. They were here, they were there. But a couple of the couples that I was around a lot weren't real strong couples. And it was more of they were together, everybody knew they were together, blah, blah, blah. There had been a ceremony, not legal, but there had been some sort, but there was still, one was doing one thing and one was doing another, and yet they still gave the image of the couple. So I didn't have a lot of, like, well, that's certainly not a role model.
No.
But again, I never really thought about it.
What about looking at because I don't know that it's just about gay couples. I mean, if you have straight couples that are in your life that are not super together, right? Or not faithful, or not this or not that. I mean, if that's what you have to go by, or not super loving.
Well, but I think the difference is that straight people have examples of that.
Right,
well, and examples.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No, but I'm saying
that also
if
wasn't the
we
question.
Look, no. I'm saying if we, just as gay folks, are looking at what we have around us and the relationships that are around us, and that's what we have to go by, and not about gay or straight, but just about people together, lasting relationships.
I wasn't looking up to Ron and Nancy as who'd been married forever as being the shining star of who I wanted to
Jesus,
be.
yeah,
absolutely.
No.
But that's one example of people who were together forever.
Yep.
That couple. You don't look. There's a lot of people. Yeah, there was a lot of shining. Back in the day, it was the Huxtables. Really, can I have a?
And
now we see how that turned out.
Look at
It's amazing she was awake.
Well, she had lines to deliver.
Yeah, that's right.
Felicia had lines to deliver.
Yeah.
But I even now, though I think it would be fantastic, I'm still not.
Sweet, Annette.
I guess I'm still not really hopeful for it, but I think part of that's just because I'm older and I'm like, I don't have time for your shit.
Well, and it came up with me because I was asked by some friends, like, we've never known you in a relationship. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, that's really not my bag,
Yeah.
I'm in it for the doing it, and then I'm like, you gots to go. Like, Mama need her alone time.
Because my
like it's and then I had to say that, but it comes from a deep-rooted history of like, yeah, it's time to go home. Like, I'll obsess over you for a while, and you can stay for a while, but eventually I'm gonna need to watch Laverne and Shirley. You know what I mean? And I don't need your input.
Was that
That's not a metaphor. Peter.
I know the DeFazio family really well.
A metaphor.
Yeah. And I don't need your input.
The DeFazios and Feeneys and I are very close.
And coming from, and like, I never saw a divorce until, like, I saw one divorce till I was like 17 years old. Like, I didn't know any divorce. Like, none of my friends had divorced parents. There was one divorce, and it was like a contemporary. It was somebody who was like my generation, was the first divorce I'd ever seen. So it's not like I don't have examples of people staying together and like working it out. I just, you know what I mean? So there's just a disconnect that when I thought I punched the gay card, I thought that meant like no marriage,
freedom,
no kid. Yeah,
freedom.
I got my own
you
house.
You gotta give for what you take.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just odd. So that's.
But isn't that something you ever wanted? At all?
Maybe once with one person. I was like, yeah, I'd like to see this one out.
Okay.
But, he's a Trump supporter, so.
No.
Good that that ended.
Yeah.
Good thing you'd have to kill him.
Really fucking good how that ended. My God.
Well,
There'd
on
be a
that
lot of
note,
light a torch, man. That'd be
we'll
awful.
stick a pin
Incidentally,
in
I'm
there.
still in go seating.
There's that. Just enough to hide a
Shoot the head
body.
separately, they weigh the most.
Also,
Exactly.
I'm willing to help. I'll help.
I'd like to thank everybody in the chat room for joining us as you do each and every week.
Thank
Thanks
you,
everybody
guys.
for being there.
Danielle, it's good to see you back.
Remember, if you're hearing this segment of the show, there are 2 other hours you can download and listen. They're broken up into 3 different segments, so you don't have to suffer through it all in one sitting. It's easy for you and challenging for us, but hey, you're welcome.
We're here to
Judy.
please.
All that, everything. Anywho, thank you all for being here on this lovely Tuesday here in the room with me. It's
Absolutely.
lovely to have seen both, all of, well, 3 of you,
Well.
all of you. It's all good.
I'm not sure which one he wasn't happy to see.
As we wrap
I'm
up
gonna go
tonight's
with
show,
you.
let's leave you with this parting thought. We will
See you next Tuesday!